we go.
You're listening to The Joe Cronin Show.
Hey, what's up, wrestling fans? What is up, wrestling fans? It is January 31st now on the East Coast, at least, as we get into what is sure to be a very anticipated Part 3 of Remembering WrestleMania. We've been over WrestleManias 1 through 10, then WrestleManias 11 through 21, and tonight we go through WrestleManias 22 to 31. My name is Joe Cronin. We're live on the Joe Cronin Show, and I'm sure you guys are ready for this because it's been constantly emailed to me throughout the last few weeks. So I'm ready to go. I'm here with, again, for the third time, Justin Bailey. Justin Bailey from a YouTube channel. You got to go check out The Best There Is Podcast on YouTube. So go to him and subscribe. The Best There Is Podcast, Justin Bailey. And this is our third show now involving...
I am super stoked for this, Joe.
I know.
Because, as you said, everybody was emailing you. They were equally blowing us both up on Twitter. When's this, third episode coming out? When is this? When is that? And it's just like, holy cow. For something we had never planned that night it's amazing the anticipation we got for this one.
Yeah, it really is. This is a sought-after deal, which is cool. A lot of people will hear this later on, not live, but that's okay, wherever they listen to podcasts or whatever.
What was the original concept?
I don't know. I think we were just gonna talk about something revolving around wrestling, and then somehow WrestleMania 15 came up because you're talking about The Rock and Austin, and that's when we started being like, well, wait a minute, that WrestleMania was this or that, and then we just decided to start talking about WrestleManias.
I think it started because I said, look, Joe, I'm going to quiz you on a WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, and then here we are.
It's bizarre.
6 hours later.
But it started with that WrestleMania 15, really. It was bizarre. It didn't make any sense. We didn't know what was going on. But let's get into WrestleMania 22, which is actually, luckily for us, one that I remember really well. It was 2006, 10 years ago. And it's funny because everywhere you look, it shows the cover is John Cena bulldogging Booker T, which is the funniest thing to me because I remember it. I remember seeing it. It's even on the network, I think it's like that. So I'll never forget seeing that. That's recent that happened because John Cena and Booker T did not wrestle. And I just never forget seeing that everywhere and being like, why is that the cover of WrestleMania? John Cena was not the WWE champion. Booker T, I believe, might have been the world champion. Or maybe he wasn't. But it didn't make any sense. Anyway, the cover made no fucking sense whatsoever. It was really stupid.
Wait a minute. So how does WWE, who's supposed to be like one of the best marketing companies in entertainment, fuck that up?
It didn't happen then. At the WrestleMania itself, it didn't happen. It only happened afterwards on the DVDs and stuff. If you look it up everywhere at some point, go look it up at some point, you'll see it's like, why is this the cover of the deal? But I know this WrestleMania really well because Justin, I'm thinking of John Cena. Justin Bailey, I gotta tell you, this was the WrestleMania where I had come back a little bit. I would say, like WrestleMania 2021, I was a little absent. I watched those WrestleManias, but those years I was absent. Believe it or not, like the Eddie Guerrero when he was like, the whole deal and that stuff was going on, Benoit, like I wasn't paying too much attention to it. Even though I was really pumped up that Shawn Michaels was back and I was all into that. But I think there were years in my last 2 years of high school. And I just think I had a lot of stuff going on. Or not my last 2 years of high school, I guess. I was out of high school, but I was I don't know, I guess I was able to drink. I was partying with people. I was doing it. You know what I mean? I was going out with girls and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I was living that freedom time. Like I'm out of high school. I'm getting drunk. I'm hanging out with my friends. And my current friends at the time weren't wrestling fans. And I just gotten out of it. You know, I don't know. It was around the time when everybody was bleeding every second. Like between, 2005 to 2001 or whatever it was. But anyway, now we're in 2006. This is WrestleMania 22. And I remember it really well. Because I'd started watching like hardcore again, and I really wanted to see Triple H retain the title. Anyway, the beginning of it, I don't know how much.
Before you get into it, though,
Yeah.
I need to make sure people know that.
Oh, the donations. I want to tell everybody that we're live.
Go ahead, yeah.
I want to mention that real quick. We're live right now. We are. We're not taking donations, so don't donate tonight, please. I just want to let you know that. Anybody listening to us on a podcast has no idea what we're talking about, but on my live show on YouTube, we get these donation alerts. Do not donate, because there's no donations. We're doing a live podcast that's a little bit different tonight. We just wanted to do it live for you. Also, we're not taking calls, so just to let you know. I just didn't want people to be upset about that, but we wanted to give this to you live. Anyway, continue.
I just want to say that with this being talked about as far as, the year 2006 and beyond, I want to make sure people know that I disappeared from the wrestling world as of like 2004. But I think I did what you did, Joe, during the time you were gone, is I did find somewhere to watch Mania and SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I did see these shows, but you got to bear with me here. I know we're supposed to be these wrestling reviewer guys, but the point of this podcast itself is remembering WrestleMania. The last Mania I was hardcore into wrestling would have been WrestleMania 19, when Booker T took on Triple H, and then, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. That huge WrestleMania.
I think this was that I know we talked about it in the last episode, but I've already forgotten. But I think is this the one where Shawn Michaels wrestled Jericho?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my my last WrestleMania when I was really into it, and I was so into it because Shawn Michaels had returned and stuff like that. Me.
I just remember it because it was like not too long after that. After I had left, I was kind of just over it. You know what I mean? I think it was about the time I had started my band, so I just kind of didn't really have time for it. But
Yeah.
I do know that I did end up watching WrestleMania that year because Goldberg was in that Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And I was a big Goldberg mark from WCW. But anyways, I know I'm sidetracking, so I just want to make sure people know. If I seem very like, oh, yeah, that's because what I said before. Anyways,
Yeah, the point is we're remembering it. So there's things we're not going to remember, and there's things on the other two episodes that we listened to that it's like kind of cringeworthy when you realize that we had something wrong. But we didn't look anything up. We're just remembering off of what we remember. Anyway.
Can I ask you a real quick question?
Yeah.
Now?
What?
Somebody messaged me on Twitter and said that we forgot to mention the TLC match from WrestleMania 17. I cannot imagine we had forgot that.
No. Did we forget that, really?
I don't know. There's no way we would have forgot that.
That was so good. WrestleMania 17, you're right. Sometimes I forget it, and I think that it happened at TLC because it had the match was so big, and the fact that it was called TLC, sometimes I think it happened at TLC, if you understand what I'm saying. That I've
Right.
literally done that before. So that could have happened. That's very possible. And I don't know why my brain works this way, but it all moshes together. But anyway, let's move on with 22. Because
Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack us there.
No,
I
it's
just wanted
okay.
to state the person that asked that question.
I remember a lot of this WrestleMania because I've rewatched it several times, multiple times.
22?
22 times. Yeah, probably more. Probably seen it more. WrestleMania 22. I remember the you know what? I don't remember now. I don't remember the opening. The opening match was some kind of like Royal Rumble match, Battle Royal or something like that. I don't remember what happened. You may not remember this at all, and you can just say you don't remember it all, and we'll move on. But I think the beginning was a Battle Royal or a 6-man tag or something, and that's all I'll say because that's all I remember.
I think just off of wrestling history, I think the only thing I remember about that specific match was that Viscera won it.
Okay, yeah, I remember Viscera being in it too. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Because was that not the last show he had before he died or something like that?
No, my God, he just died a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he died a few. You know why? Because that's one of the first podcasts I ever did on my show. My SoundCloud, if you go to my SoundCloud page or iTunes, my first episode on iTunes is talking about Viscera being dead.
Damn.
Yeah, it was just.
I didn't know he was that around during the years of WWE before he died.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago he died.
Damn, I didn't know he was that active.
Unbelievable. Then I remember I remember Kane and the Big Show took on Carlito and somebody else generic.
I'm sure that was a showstopper.
Yeah, it was for the tag team titles. It was weird because I think
been a TV turn-offer for me.
What happened was the 18-man tag thing that happened, or 16-man tag, or 20-man tag, or 20-man battle royal, or whatever the hell happened at the beginning. That was a dark match. That was a match that wasn't on TV. I think it's on the DVD, but it's not. I don't think it aired. I don't even know. I fucking.
Is it on the network, Joe?
I don't know. It could be. I haven't seen it in a little while, but maybe it is. But I will say that the tag team match, I remember I was supposed to start the show, I think, because I remember thinking this isn't really how I wanted WrestleMania to start. Kane and the Big Show versus two generic people. Well, Carlito was there, but I don't remember who the other one was. Anyway, I don't remember who won, but that happened. Do
you by any chance remember where this was at?
Chicago, I know it, because CM Punk was there. CM Punk was one of the Chicago mobsters who came out at the end with John Cena's kind of epic.
Oh yeah, this is very historically written, where he was once a part of WrestleMania but never in. I got you. I'm with you now. Go ahead.
Now I also know that there was a Money in the Bank match in this one.
I think that may be the only match I remember from this show that's like embedded in my brain, because it was the one I think RVD
wins it because it's 2006, and this is during that time where John Cena had finally started to get heat. This is when Cena started getting heat, and the crowd was turning on him, and all the fans they were doing the Cena sucks thing was starting here. This was the ECW takeover thing or whatever they did. The night when they kept throwing John Cena's shirt back at him, and Randy Orton got punched, and RVD was the WWE champion, and Edge ended up spearing and all that shit. So anyway, this was the match that led to RVD becoming Mr. Money in the Bank.
Now, was this the same Money in the Bank ladder match where Ric Flair got suplexed, or was that later on?
It might be, and if there is one where he gets injured too, or almost like where he's like, it seems like he's injured and he comes back. Maybe that might be that one. I don't remember.
Because was there not one where he got straight up suplexed off the top of the ladder?
Yeah, that might be it. And then they took him. I swear to God, he leaves the match and doesn't come back, or he comes back like way later or something like that.
Yeah, because I remember he got over so huge with that crowd because they were just chanting I think they were chanting, "You still got
it." Well, he did. I mean,
yeah,
I think.
Real quick note too before we move on, it's a shame it ended for RVD the way it did as far as his title run.
Right.
Because this is what would lead to it, and I'm pretty sure it's just because he got pinched for a fucking bag of weed or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. If I had been there to give him $1,000, it might have been okay.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. No, but I really wanted RVD to beat Cena and all that stuff. Anyway, I think that's what happened. Whatever. This WrestleMania was like...
I got nothing else.
This WrestleMania is like... Well, no, I got more. I'll tell you. I know the whole card almost, I think.
Okay.
There was two huge matches. For me, there was two big matches. Maybe for other people, it was different things. I think a lot of the newer fans were like, what the SmackDown people were doing. But anyway, I know that the Shawn Michaels wrestled Vince McMahon in a no-holds-barred match, and this was the match where, first of all, like I said, I was getting back into wrestling more than ever again. But I've been kind of sick of, I've been kind of the last few years thinking like, Shawn Michaels, and he's doing the whole God thing and everything. And I really miss DX, but whatever. I really love Shawn Michaels. I'll watch anything he does. He's still good. And to see him come unglued where Vince McMahon was doing the whole angle before the WrestleMania, that it's going to be him versus God. And he did this whole thing where he had McMahonism and he went into a church. And it was hilarious. He spits out the water like he's Triple H in the holy water in the fucking church. That was so damn funny. Everything he did with Shawn Michaels was great. And he's pushing Shawn's buttons to the limits. And then Shawn Michaels gets a match against McMahon. And The match is pretty damn good, and also they say the old Shawn Michaels is coming out and he's doing the suck it again. We hadn't seen Shawn Michaels do the DX suck it in forever. Since he'd really returned to wrestling, he hadn't done it really.
Yeah, it'd be almost 10 years or something like that.
At this point, it was 2006, so I would say yeah.
Because he left in 98, right, Joe?
Yeah, he left in 98. Now, he did do it a few times on Raw as he came back as different things and stuff like that, but it wasn't really it wasn't really good. But this was the first time as an active wrestler, I believe, we saw it again. So and I remember always, when I was watching the match and watching him go after McMahon, it was like, man, this is like old Shawn Michaels stuff. And I was like, oh, I just wish it was like the days that, Attitude Era and the DX and all that stuff. And then, sure enough, Shawn climbs the ladder at the end of the match, does the suck it, and the crowd pops for that, by the way. And at home, I popped for that. And then he jumps off, there's a trash lid over McMahon. He drops an elbow on top of McMahon through a table. He had tied Shane up with handcuffs to the ropes. He was telling him to suck it and blowing snots at everybody, and it was vicious. It was great. And
is there not a point in that match specifically? Is it before or after when Shawn says something to Vince like, just trust me, Vince, or something like that? Like, it was like Vince was almost a little bit nervous about the spot, or afterwards, like he says something to him, like either trust me, Vince, or like, are you okay, Vince? I just feel like there was a moment where you can literally see Shawn kind of like, it was just kind of picked up that he was like almost worried about Vince.
I don't remember that, but I'll have to go back and listen to it. I've watched that match a lot, and I never heard that. So
I could think of something else, but I swear there was a point, like I'm pretty sure it's before, like before he goes to climb the ladder. It's like he like taps the trash can lid or something, like, "Are you ready, Vince?" or "Trust me, Vince." Maybe I'm just fucking. I don't know. I seem to remember something. Like
I don't know, but that sounds. I will definitely go listen to that. But I do remember Shawn picking up Vince at the end and saying, "You gonna watch this, Vince? I'm gonna kick your teeth right down your throat." And then he kicks McMahon's face in with a super kick, and he does this kind of almost goofy thing where he like rears back and starts stomping around on his feet. And it was kind of silly in a way, but it was just really intense though. So then he does that, and of course that's gonna tie into what happens in the main event of the John Cena versus Triple H match, which other than some of the matches Kevin Owens has had and maybe some of the Edge stuff and whatever, honestly, Triple H versus John Cena at WrestleMania 22 is probably John Cena's greatest WrestleMania match, in my opinion. And part of it's the crowd, of course, but it was just such a big match. Anyway, we covered Shawn Michaels Vince. I'll tell you what else I remember. Obviously, it seemed you don't remember anything else other than the John Cena Triple H.
No. Who did Taker face that year? Do you know?
Mark Henry.
Oh, wasn't it a casket match?
Casket match. Mark Henry wasn't a big thing. Just kind of it was okay, but it wasn't.
Just another notch in the streak.
Yeah, just it was on the bottom of the list of, if you're going to pick out your top 10 Taker WrestleMania matches, that won't be there. Although Mark Henry did sell some kind of cool things when he got when he would get like chopped in the throat and then he would kind of like fall through the ropes. It was kind of cool. He did a good job with that. But the match itself was okay, but nothing crazy. The only other thing I do remember, Booker T did something with Boogeyman because he was like scaring Charmel and stuff, and that's about it.
What about women? Was there a women's match on this card? I'm sure there had to have been.
Maybe it was Trish Stratus was there.
Okay, so please tell me it was the year Mickie James and her had their match.
Maybe.
That might be
no, this is the one where they edited it out of the video, right? Where she says like, "You stupid," or she shows her. Something happens, right? Mickie James like calls her a cunt, or like she does something, and like they took it out.
That's bullshit.
Something like that happened. And they took it out of yes, but I have it on because I have it on tape, and it's not edited. But I forget what it is that she does. But something like that. Actually, seeing it live, I didn't know she did this. I had no idea this happened until I saw it on some show, and then when I watched on the network, I saw that they edited it out.
That's so stupid.
I don't know what it is or what that is, and that honestly is. Yeah, I don't remember what happened though. To be honest,
it's a pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
I don't know who won it. I would guess Mickie James only because I think Trish didn't wrestle in 2007, so I'm assuming this is her end. but I don't really remember, to be honest.
I do know for a fact that Mickie James won that match.
Okay.
Because she did like her weird kick or whatever and it caught Trish.
Okay, I don't remember. I really don't remember. I remember
the best part about those was their feud, like leading up to it.
Yeah.
The whole lesbian crazy thing. That was so awesome.
I remember the outfits they wore.
Because she always wore that sexy skirt or whatever.
She always wore something that looked like she wanted to get like banged at a party.
God, I'd love to be at that party.
There's a party in my pants, and now you're in them too.
And your pants?
That's all. Yes, that's all I remember, and that's what I'll say. I don't remember what happened. I know there was also a pillow fight that took place at some point, which is ridiculous.
It had to have had Stacy Keibler or Tori Wilson, one of those. I mean, those were like the goddesses of WWE, I'm sure.
I know that John Cena was for the WWE Championship with Triple H. I honestly couldn't tell you. I hated the world title. I'll be honest. I think that's part of what lost me. I hated the world title. I hated that there was two supposed championships. I got it. One's the WWE one. One's the world one. I thought
wasn't
it took
more
away.
SmackDown and Raw though, Joe?
Yeah.
That was kind of like their thing. Like there was a world title for each brand.
Yeah, I got it. I just didn't like it at all. I hated it actually.
Yeah, but again, like, how do you have a rotating champion then that has to work both shows? I mean, I'm confused.
Yeah, I think that if you're a world champion, then you have to defend it on both shows. I think that's what they should have done.
Okay.
Because then it's like, you're the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. You have to defend it to anyone anywhere, and you got both sides vying for who they want to challenge. All that kind of shit. But goddamn, I hated that. Oh, you know something? There's something else I'm forgetting. It's fucking unbelievable that I almost forgot this. I'm sure there's other things that we're forgetting and we'll be pissed off about it, but this would absolutely piss me off if I forgot about it. Mick fucking Foley versus Edge in like a fucking awesome hardcore match. This was great. This match was goddamn great. There was barbed wire. Mick Foley went through a flaming table, and that's the easy thing to jump to, but the other stuff in the match was good too. There was just so much good. There was the barbed wire. There was tacks. You thought Mick Foley for sure was going to go into the tacks. You thought he was going in. He had all the clothes on and stuff. And then, no, Edge goes into the tacks instead. And he's bleeding all over his back. Edge is bleeding from the head. I remember after when at some point Lita gets a tack in her mouth or her head or something. Because towards the end of the match, she's like grabbing her cheek and her face, and just something ain't right with her. So,
I thought Mick Foley kind of juiced her a little bit with the barbed wire.
That's what it was. He put the barbed wire around Socko. And he put it in Edge's mouth, and then he did it to Lita, and he must have stabbed her with the barbed wire and ripped it out of her face.
That's great.
I would love to hear Amy Dumas in an interview about that, because I haven't heard that.
Well, I'm trying to get her on the show. Maybe we could ask her about that.
That's the first thing I'll ask her. Because I've wondered that for a while. I mean, obviously, it looks like she got cut, or she was just selling it really good. But I mean, it looked like she got cut in the mouth.
No, I remember even when like Edge and Lita are walking out at the end of that show. I remember Lita like holding her fucking cheek, like where she's trying to hold that blood from going out or something. You can tell she got hurt.
She and then she lights the table up. Mick Foley goes through the thing. His hair could have caught on fire. The table was one of the best table spots. It really was one of the best table spots on fire table spots ever. Sometimes the table goes out like as they're going through it or right away, and it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It was the perfect table on fire spot I've ever seen, and it happened at WrestleMania. That was so cool, and I didn't expect it at that time. Even in WrestleMania 22, I didn't expect it. By the way, WrestleMania 22, I feel like that was just a few years ago. I can't believe that we're coming up on 10 years ago for WrestleMania 22. 2006 was a time, like I said, when I was going through some problems in my life. I was all screwed up. And maybe that's why I got back into wrestling, because my ex-girlfriend had left me at the time, and I'd been like, I got nothing to do, and I just really got back into it. I mean, like we said, we always watched it, but that was really good. That match was so good. Edge wins, and he's like shivering and shaking and bleeding like a maniac. It was the last time you saw something like that, I believe, at WrestleMania. I think that was the last time Mick Foley wrestled at WrestleMania, and I think it was the last time you saw something hardcore like that at WrestleMania, really. I believe.
I think so. I think I know for sure that was kind of like, I think that was like Mick Foley's, because I think it's Mick Foley talks about it in his documentary, or not his documentary. You know what I mean, like his big movie or whatever for leaving the business. And I think he talks that Vince wanted him to have his WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
And that was it. So, yeah, that's probably why they brought the big-ass flaming table, and that's how he went home.
Well, it's so good, too, because he gets, you can't go off a cage or something like that, like you used to. But what can you do? You can do barbed wire, you can do cookie sheets, you can do tacks, and you can do going through a table on fire. It was a great idea. Let's do that. Sure, that hasn't been done yet. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen Mick Foley do that yet in WWE. So it was a great idea, and it came because you could have a problem. They could have had the table wouldn't have looked that good. It looked so good. And
didn't Amy set that table?
Amy's the one who said it because she thinks Lita's the one who says it because she thinks whatever Edge is going to spear him, which was the point. And she did actually. She hit him in the balls too because Mick Foley was on the outside grabbing the ropes, and then she hits him in the nuts or something. And then the one thing to remember about this for the most dangerous. To either of the wrestlers, the one who's in the most danger ended up being Edge. If you watch it back in slow motion, Edge's face is like in the fire because his head goes under Foley's arm to the side as he spears him, and he lands face first, and the flames are coming up in his face and stuff. So Edge was really in danger. His eyes were in danger there more than anything. So it's I don't know. It's interesting when I've watched it in slow motion because I'm a sicko. Anyway, that was great. So
that'd be a match to review in itself, Joe.
We could review it. That could be on our episode of. We're gonna have something called Reloaded. We'll talk about that later, but that could be the one to do. And we're kind of doing it now almost. But the one thing, the other. So the thing about this WrestleMania that's so good is, they really started talking about the Undertaker streak here. A little bit. They sort of started mentioning how he was. I think he might have been 8-0 or 9-0 at this time. I don't remember what it was. But then, so you get Shawn Michaels, Vince, you get Foley and Edge, and then you get to John Cena, Triple H. And the crowd is buzzing because the old school Attitude Era fans are starting to come out. They've already been out, but they're really starting to come out. They're marking out. They're going crazy. We saw Shawn Michaels do Suck It. We saw Mick Foley go through a flaming table. This is Chicago, by the way. We're in Chicago. CM Punk comes out as a gangster. Triple H's entrance is fucking crazy. This was the beginning of the Triple H entrances. When he was... Before this, he really just came out. And sometimes he had Motorhead or a band, yes. But this was really the beginning. He came out with the friggin' King, the Cronin look or whatever, the Barbarian. He rises up from the bottom on that throne looking ridiculous. It was such a great entrance. I wish I remember this. It's so cool because I think this 2006 was the first year. This was the year that he got the King of Kings music, I believe. So this was the first year of that. And as he's rising up from the bottom of the ground on this throne thing, they're playing the bow down to the king, and it's awesome. And then it ends, right? As he gets to the top of the ramp, it ends, and then they turn on his real Motorhead, the other Motorhead song, his Time to Play the Game, and it just, oh my God, bro. I was pacing around in my living room. You know what I mean? 22 years old, pacing around in my living room with a beer in my hand. And I'm just I'm on board, man. I fucking hate Cena, number 1. I love Triple H, number 2. I'm literally like a kid doing Suck It again in middle school. I'm telling I'm like, let's go. Shawn Michaels, maybe though, I'm thinking DX could come back or something. And I mean, that's really, I was thinking that.
There's not a lot of Triple H fans out there like you and me, though.
Okay. Really?
There's not as many as a lot of people really dislike Triple H. It's probably our age group that do love Triple H. A lot of modern day fans don't like Triple H for obvious reasons because they just never got to live that time when Triple H was, if not the best guy to put on the match on the card, second.
If you ask me about a lot of good matches that I like, a lot of times Triple H doesn't come up. I'm not the biggest Triple H fan, but yet I am because of how traditional he is, and this is why he's really good. He's really good because I can literally hate Triple H too. There's been plenty of times where I'm absolutely furious that Triple H wins. That's why he's so good. I'm pacing around here, like getting ready to chant for him, and then Cena comes out too. And I remember I called it. I was probably saying all kinds of terrible things out there. By the way, I love my gay friends out there, but I was calling this gay as shit. This stupid Chicago entrance with the friggin' Tommy guns and the stupid sound, and then Cena comes out there. He fucking shoots the gun, and then he comes down. I mean, people really like that, but I was disgusted by it. I was disgusted by him. Jim Ross, whatever Jim Ross would talk about the old school fans versus John Cena, I felt that way. I was behind Triple H. I was absolutely disgusted by Cena, and his wrestling, what he did in the ring wrestling-wise disgusted me, and I was so upset. I'm mad still. I was angry. If I could list the top like 3 or 5 times I reacted at WrestleMania like in such a way, there's not many WrestleManias that ended where you were like flipping out. I was flipping out in this match at the end of it. First of all, the fans basically turn on Cena. They're in Triple H's. 70% of them are in Triple H's pocket. Triple H is supposed to be the ultimate heel. This bad guy. He's the big heel. He's going to put the belt back on Cena and everything else. And it didn't go that way. The crowd wanted Triple H to win, and they started coming unglued. And what does Triple H do in the match at the beginning? Tells Cena to suck it. Haven't seen Triple H really do that in a while as well. Saw Shawn Michaels do it earlier, and these people were eating this shit up. Goddamn, Justin Bailey, we've almost spent 30 minutes on one WrestleMania. This thing's going to be a fucking long night. I'll tell you. But,
it's okay, though, because I love listening to, like, you talk about it because you remember this because, like you said, that's the beauty of this podcast. You remember walking around with a beer in your hand. You were angry. Keep talking. This is the kind of shit that people like to hear.
Oh, well, then... the match begins. They're slow. They're starting this off real slow. They know what they're doing. They worked this crowd beautifully. Crowd was worked absolutely phenomenally. They did such a good job in putting Cena over in this thing. I was breaking stuff in my room because I was so upset that Triple H ends up losing. He taps out, which was even more enraging to me. I was screaming. Like, if there was YouTube then, but if I had recorded my reaction, I might have gone viral because I was screaming like he taps out, that's what he fucking does, he taps out. I mean, I was fucking, dude, I was raging. And
Didn't he tap out 2 years before that too to Benoit?
You're right, he did, but that didn't bother me. I don't know why.
And then he's gonna get pinned here in like a month.
But isn't that amazing? How like 2 years before that, I don't really remember that. I just remember that match was really good, but I don't remember being upset that Triple H tapped out. But with Cena, I was furious.
Oh, it's different. We were so we felt blessed that Benoit won. Now Cena, we just felt like we got AIDS.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was pissed. And, that being said, the match was so good. The whole thing was so good. And you know why it's so good? Even though I was mad at the time, like I was enraged at the time, I go back and watch that match all the time because it was when you have two people who wrestle well and you have people at home invested, but then the crowd is also crazily invested, you have the perfect deal. And this was the perfect match for them, and the best John Cena match ever.
And if I can remember when we get there, the way you felt during this match when Cena won is the way I felt when he won a certain match that when we get to it, I'll try to remember it. Because you were infuriated by him winning this match. The match I get infuriated for wasn't even a title match.
All right.
So when we get there, we'll get there. But anyways.
Well, that does it for WrestleMania 22. And it sets up going into WrestleMania 23. And then this match between John Cena and Triple H is going to play a part in WrestleMania 23 when we get to that. But we'll start off with basically where we should start off with, which is not.
Now, I remember more from this one than 22, obviously, because of Trump being there and the whole big. I mean, because wasn't this? I mean, this was one of the biggest ones, right?
Well, the other one too. By the way, WrestleMania 22. One last thing to tie in. It had for some reason they dug up Peter Gabriel's old '80s song, the fucking "Big Time Ding 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 Ding." Like I was like, why is that the song for WrestleMania? That's like from 15 years ago. So they brought up a theme song. I don't know. That was just random trivia that I don't know. I wanted to mention that. No, this was a big. The big time was WrestleMania 22. If that's what you're talking about. This was around the time when like the Money in the Bank had started the year before, and this was that time when I think of these WrestleManias as like the Money in the Bank championships, and there was so many wrestlers at this time.
Help me out real quick, Joe. All right.
Yeah.
Which WrestleMania was it that went Hollywood? Have we already talked about that one?
Yeah, that was 21. That was the year
21.
before.
Okay.
We kind of I don't know if we talked about that then, but yeah, that was the one that went Hollywood.
I'm sure we did. That was like a 3-hour fucking podcast, so I'm sure we covered it. Anyways, I'm sorry
I hated
to
that, by the way. Yeah, I hated WrestleMania 21. Pissed me off. Okay, so I know that this obviously had a Money in the Bank match, WrestleMania 23. I know that this was CM Punk actually was in that. I know that. I know that maybe I think Randy.
That was the year Anderson won.
Okay, thank you, because I didn't know that. I was trying to think of who. I don't even know who won. So Mr. Kennedy in WWE won it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Kennedy. Yeah, he was Kennedy in WWE.
Kennedy. And then he pissed off Randy Orton, who we know, according to Kenny Boland's interview the other day, has anger problems and never really cared for the business anyway.
He's a fucking dick.
Yeah. Can we just get the fuck out of here? Just think of all the soldiers hearing that. It's just the funniest
love
thing.
that. No, I'm actually happy because I remember more from this Mania than I did 23. Obviously, you knew a lot from that one. I know this one because I remember Kennedy winning. Of course, the Trump thing, and I just historically, I do know that this one, because I am obsessed with numbers.
Yeah.
And I love looking up pay-per-view buy rates. And about 3 or 4 months ago, I was researching like WrestleMania buy rates, and I know this one has to be in like one of the top ones.
Really?
It has to. I mean, if somebody can tweet it to us since we're live, if that's true or not, because me and Joe stick true to our guns. This is off of memory. I am pretty sure this is, if not the top buy rate pay-per-view. Actually, no, that's not right, because I think the first Rock and Cena was the biggest one. And then
I don't know.
I think this one has to be in the top 3, Joe.
I know it was in Detroit. I know that. So, all right, Mr. Kennedy wins because you knew that, and I wouldn't have known that otherwise. I'm actually trying to think of matches besides the Bobby Lashley Donald Trump thing, but let's just go to that. Bobby Lashley and Umaga had a worthless match. Yeah, I think they had a worthless match. Donald Trump's acting was bizarre. It was very weird, but it was, and then Vince gets his hair cut, and Vince's hair would like never really look the same again. Really, like what the hell happened? Like he always had that square head of hair that looked good, but his hair then became always like kind of rounded in a way. Like it never looked the same again.
Yeah.
I don't know, he killed his barber. I don't know.
And another thing too, I'm also thinking there was that meme that came out here recently where like they photoshopped, the part where Trump took down Vince. They photoshopped Hillary Clinton's head on Vince's body for a meme, and it was Trump taking her down. I'm thinking of that too. So. It's so funny.
That's awesome. You dirty boy. Yeah, I don't remember. Honestly, 23 was not. 22. After 21, in my opinion, 21 kind of sucked. And then I felt like 22 kind of brought them back up again. Like that was a kind of a gritty WrestleMania. 22 was kind of a gritty WrestleMania, but I felt like 23 took a step back and it became a little goofy again. These ECW originals, I think, took on like the new ECW people, and that was just stupid. They faced that new breed, and it was just lame as shit. I don't know who the Undertaker wrestled, but I'm sure it wasn't good.
Joe, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just got a tweet from @JohnXO400M.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. He has actually just tweeted me the list of pay-per-view buy rate records and all that. This was the second best one, and I'll be damned if the first one isn't WrestleMania 28, the first Rock versus Cena.
Wow.
I fucking nailed that.
Did nail it.
So who do I get the blowjob
I
from?
bet you this one was the biggest one because the last WrestleMania was so good. And this one was not good. I mean, to me, it wasn't very good.
Oh, the one we're talking about, 23.
Yeah, this one actually reminds me of WrestleMania 15. Remember we talked about that? Like, okay, it had a lot of matches with a lot of people that were good, but nothing is memorable really. I mean,
I haven't thought of a single match other than the Money in the
the
Bank.
whole fucking thing is like, yes, these two people did wrestle, and then that's about it, except for. Yes, so Vince gets his head shaven, and then I can't think of anything else, to be honest. I
can't either.
Don't give a shit about anything else that happened, to be honest.
Which is unreal for this being the second best buy rate pay-per-view ever.
It is sad, to be honest.
How robbed must people have felt that? Actually, at that night, people probably liked it.
Maybe a little bit.
I don't even remember liking it afterwards, though. And
No.
I know I watched it.
I've put this WrestleMania in before just to watch Shawn Michaels versus Cena. Because also, now I'm pissed off from WrestleMania 22, and I wanted to see, first of all, it was supposed to be Triple H versus Cena. But as a Shawn Michaels fan, I was even more excited to see Shawn Michaels versus Cena. Because I was thinking to myself, okay, Triple H didn't do it. Shawn Michaels better fucking win the title. Yeah. You know, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Shawn Michaels better win the title. But what they were thinking is, well, Triple H is injured. We can't have the part 2, but we'll give him Shawn Michaels, and then he'll put over Shawn. I mean, Shawn will put over him even more. So now he's beating these two legends. John Cena's the guy, you know? And that's what they go with. I feel like this WrestleMania was another one of those WrestleManias where, like, we've already told all these amazing stories through the year, so now everyone gets to appear. As opposed to, we're going to put these two guys in a match that is always remembered at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like Mick Foley and Edge, we'll always remember that at WrestleMania. But these matches weren't to really always remember to be good. They were just, we got to get these guys out there because they've been wrestling all year and we've been doing well. You know, it's like,
oh yeah,
they just there because they've been there. But their best stuff happened before the Mania. John, you know, John Cena and Shawn Michaels is less memorable than the Triple H match, but it was a really good match. It was a good match, I think.
Do you think it had something to do with maybe the supporting card losing interest in the show because of the piss poor match?
No, I think it had something to do with Triple H the year before was playing this heel, and John Cena was supposed to be the face, and the Chicago crowd said, fuck this, we like Triple H. We're going back to Triple H. We're watching wrestling right now and started liking Cena, but but Cena really didn't do much for us after all this time.
I mean, I'm talking about the memory of WrestleMania 23. Is it hard to remember more things because of how awful the supporting card was?
Yeah, I'm sure that's
compared
part
to,
of
like,
it.
the big matches.
Well, then there's so many matches, I bet. I bet you there was so many little triple matches and double, and I don't remember.
And Joe, another fun fact, too. I remember there was a point where I was honestly, when I was trying to find somewhere to watch WrestleMania, I swear to God, the only thing, if I were to buy it or go to watch it somewhere, was just for the Money in the Bank ladder match because I was so impressed with them.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is, even though they were really good, I can't remember what happened for the most part. It's all a blurred memory. But yeah. I know that it was Joel that sent us that, by the way. Yeah, okay, cool. It was all blurred memory. So while it was good, it was just a big spot fest.
Yeah.
So a big spot fest I'm not remembering that.
Right.
So there you go. That's the reason. And
shit.
Shawn Michaels and Cena was a long. I remember being a long match, but I don't remember everything. I remember Shawn doing the moonsault, smacking his ribs and just doing all his stuff. And I remember being really angry when that ended too. Like, you got to be kidding me.
So we just got a tweet from John here, Joe.
Yeah.
Taker versus Batista for the world.
Oh, we missed that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, fuck it. It probably wasn't good.
That's what I'm saying. It must have been not a very good match. I mean, because we don't remember a damn thing.
First of all, I hated the world title, so I don't really recognize it. I hated the world title. I decided in my mind I didn't give a shit about the world title. In fact, I was so mad when Shawn Michaels won that Elimination Chamber match at Survivor Series because I wanted it to be the WWE title. I was mad that it was the world title because I didn't think it meant the same thing, and I was upset. But anyway, that's me. Anyway, John Cena, Shawn Michaels, best match of the night. Not quite as good as Triple H and Cena, but I think Cena and Shawn Michaels' chemistry, it just wasn't quite as good as Triple H. And although Shawn Michaels is a better wrestler than everybody, I think, but I don't know. It just
except for Bret Hart.
Yeah, I mean, well, Bret Hart would have been better than everyone else too, and then it would have been Shawn and him. So that's not what I would have done. So there you go. That's WrestleMania 23. Pretty much a piece of shit. Shawn Michaels got to wrestle John Cena, but fortunately for me, John Cena won. So I don't know. That's what it was.
Fortunately for you, John Cena won.
Unfortunately for me, John Cena.
Oh, okay.
Won.
I'm sorry. I thought you said fortunate. I was like, wait a minute. Your true colors came out.
No, unbelievably no. So this is this is when I'm really and these two matches really set up my hatred for John Cena. Him beating Triple H and then him beating Shawn Michaels the next year just made me absolutely disgusted and upset. And you know, I'm sure all the younger fans were happy when they liked Cena, you know, and I'm just as disgusted by all these people now. Like, I used to like Cena. I'm like, oh, I never did. But then we get into WrestleMania 24, which I think was 2007, right? Because 2008, right? 2008?
Yeah, 2008.
Which is, we're getting closer to nowadays, 2008. This was the WrestleMania. I'm just trying to picture it, what happened. I know this is the one where the Big Show got knocked out by Mayweather, right? 24.
Yes. Wait, was it?
I'm pretty sure. Mayweather knocked out Big Show.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so now that helps me because that was the one where it was like sunny outside. The ropes were like red but slightly orangey. It was like Florida. They might have been in Florida. They had the palm tree things on the side. This is the one. I think this is the one where Carlito, like where like the bird poops on Maria. It might be. Hey-oh, it was great, dude.
I don't know, because to be honest with you, just to get it out of the way, because I think Joe's going to have to take over for this one. Two things I remember this pay-per-view for. Obviously, as I mentioned before, the Money in the Bank ladder match. This was the year CM Punk won, if I'm right on that.
Yes.
And then, obviously, Flair and Michaels. The only reason I actually got to see this pay-per-view was for those two. So, Joe, I'll let you take over.
Well, I will. I'll tell you, man. It was a good WrestleMania. Kane won a 24-man battle royal or a 30-man battle royal. It could be 30. It was either 20. It could be 25. Actually, I don't fucking know. It was either 25, 24, or 30 people. Who cares? Kane won it. It wasn't on the card, but it's on the Blu-ray that I got. This was also the first year. This is very important, actually. This is the first year that WrestleMania was on Blu-ray in 16:9, and it was in HD. You could buy it on an HD TV and watch it in Blu-ray on HD. And I think it was maybe this year or 2 years from now, even before WWE would go HD on cable. And that's it's very interesting. But yeah, this is the first time you get to see WrestleMania in high definition. So this is the only the very first WrestleMania that you can get in Blu-ray. Right.
Is what you're saying. So you can't get any of the other ones in Blu-ray after this. I mean, before this.
Unless they put them on Blu-ray and stretch the ratio, but the cameras they used weren't capable of that. So it's not like if they put it on Blu-ray, it would be just like how Star Trek, if you're a dork out there and know what I'm talking about, Star Trek The Next Generation filmed had to cut the film in 4:3 because even though they shot in 16:9, they didn't they didn't frame it that way. So if they shot the Enterprise and they had boom mics and lights and shit on the side to light Patrick Stewart's face, well, that's actually in the fucking frames. And there were so many times where like there was a person in a shot or a person in the frame that's why they couldn't use the negative. So Star Trek released these Blu-rays for $80, which look amazing, but you have to watch them in the boxed 4:3 Blu-ray. So even though, man, Captain Picard's face looks crisp and everything looks phenomenal, you have to look at those two black lines on the side of your TV because they can't show you the 16:9 because they couldn't do it because 30% of every episode had a boom mic or a dick or something in the way. So, but that's not how it was with WWE. They literally just didn't shoot with that camera. They just didn't film it 16:9. So that's the problem. But so his first Blu-ray WrestleMania, there was a. Trying to think of who else was in the Battle Royal. I'm sure a bunch of people were that I don't remember, and who gives a crap. There was a pretty cool little mini brutal match between John Layfield, Mr. JBL, taking on Finlay, if you want to say it like a homo, with Hornswoggle in a Belfast Brawl. It was called the Belfast Brawl. It was a pretty good little match, if I remember. Pretty good little match. Also, actually, I know what else happened at this WrestleMania because I was pissed off. Man. Kane beat Chavo Guerrero for the ECW Championship in 8 seconds.
Oh, after he won the Rumble?
Yeah, because I think the Rumble was to go who was facing the champion.
And he beat him in 8 seconds? What did he do? Just get in there and chokeslam him and pin him?
Yeah, basically. I think Chavo was doing the whole I'm getting ready thing, and then he got waffled. And I remember, here's why I was mad about this. Because at the time, Chavo Guerrero was starting to have he was for some reason having some pretty good little matches sometimes. But they still weren't allowing him to do anything. But a couple times he was allowed to go, and the matches were really good, and I really liked it. I also saw Chavo Guerrero locally at a dark match, and he was so good, and I was like, why the frig don't they let this guy go and let this guy do what he can do? And then at WrestleMania, I was like, cool, Chavo Guerrero, man, looks good with that ECW championship. And then all of a sudden, just
buried.
Right.
Oh, it's so sad. I mean, I know of that. I just didn't remember it being on this show.
Well, who would remember? It was 8 seconds long, and it's Chavo Guerrero, who, I mean, in WWE's career, and Kane.
It's fine, especially after I've been watching Lucha Underground lately. It's just fine that he's gone, because now you realize just how amazing this guy is. So, and you knew it then.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just it's for the best that now he's gone, getting the attention he truly deserves. So.
By the way, we're not taking donations, just in case anybody just got here and doesn't know. There's no donations right now, and there's no what do I want to say? And no phone calls. Sorry, because we're doing a podcast, but we're doing a live. Just want to let you know.
Shout out to the 150 live watching us right now around the world, Joe.
Around the world. This shows
a lot of different people in there.
That's the biggest thing I love about YouTube is just the fact that we're around the world. God damn, I love the world because we're all the same. We're just in these different countries.
Okay. Everybody where they're from, man. I mean, there's a lot of people in there. Where are you from? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
Where
cool.
are you guys listening to us?
I love hearing that. It's unbelievable, actually. So the CM Punk won that ladder match, they were all pretty good matches. Anyway, I don't remember anything else other than that. And I remember some of the big stuff at the end. Floyd Money Mayweather, Big Show. They had this, I thought, a pretty good deal, little thing, and Floyd knocked out Big Show. The only thing weird about it was people didn't like Floyd Money Mayweather.
No, it's the only time people will truly hear people root for Big Show.
It was like everyone said, no, fuck this guy. All his money and all this stuff. And then he knocks out Big Show, and it was like, no, they kind of wanted to see if Floyd gets stomped. But so it was kind of weird for that, but it was still memorable. So it's still
But the problem with
job.
that match, Joe, in my book is, and obviously the cat's out of the bag on wrestling, but here's the fucking problem. You have a 5 foot tall fucking featherweight black boxer in the ring with a 7 foot tall 400
Wait a minute.
fucking
Let's
giant.
go back to something. Everything you said was okay, but why did you say black?
I don't know. I just said it. Yeah, I did. That means anything by it. Goddamn, now you're going to paint me as a
I'm
fucking
gonna
monster.
paint you as a racist now on this show.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Because everything was okay. I mean, like, he's a 5 foot, yeah, he's a boxer, yeah. But then black, it was like, wait,
goddamn
what
it.
is that supposed to? What does that have anything to do with any of this stuff?
It didn't have anything to do with it. Goddamn, Joe's fucking putting me on trial right now. This is bullshit. He knows I'm not a fucking racist.
I know you're not, but it was just really weird. I had
I
to
have
say
said
something.
It there. I apologize.
I had to
if that
say
offended
something because
anybody.
I'm thinking if I'm a black guy listening to this podcast, and some white guy says, "This boxer, he's 5 foot, he's black," like I'd be like,
say it like
"The
that.
fuck does
I
that
put
mean?"
No space in between 5 foot, black, and boxer. They all went right together.
All right.
Okay,
All right,
okay. You know what? I'm gonna take a second, Joe. I'm going to apologize.
I'm gonna burn myself. I'm gonna burn my hand with a lighter.
I did not mean that. I swear to God, I am not a racist person. I'm not gonna fucking defend myself. I know I'm not racist.
I know.
before
It's a
that.
continue. I just thought it was
Anyway,
funny. I had to
so-
bring it up.
You got a 5 foot boxer against a 7 foot fucking giant. Now I get the whole total underdog story, but let's live
Yeah.
in the realistic world, okay?
Well, and Justin, I'm gonna let you continue, but this goes into the whole thing when people used to say Daniel Bryan can't beat Brock and Daniel Bryan this and that can't do that. Really, you had a 5 foot fucking boxer in there with Big Show, but anyway, and he beat him. Anyway, go ahead to continue.
Okay, so that's
And Vince
a great
did it.
point.
And Vince did it. So when someone says Vince doesn't want this guy, get the fuck out of here.
It's a great point, but at the same time, it would be like if somebody were to do a one-on-one basketball game, if you brought in some fucking tennis or hockey player to face Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? I'm not calling Big Show the Michael Jordan of wrestling by any means. I'm just saying you bring in some guy who is a very well-decorated boxer, and he destroys a 7 foot giant.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
To me, it just was like, okay. I mean, I get what they're trying to do. They want to make ESPN and all this stuff, but at the same time, it's like, let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck me.
What? I was letting you go.
I know, but I'm still getting buried for the black thing.
Oh, are you?
I can feel it.
I was over it.
No, I
was
can
over
feel it. It's beaming through.
Somebody tweeted me on my phone and said Justin only kills black deer. But no, it was funny. But no, exactly what, dude. It was so stupid.
I apologize, and yeah, maybe I'm making a silly point, Joe. But again, it's like
not.
you said.
It's bullshit, dude. This is what Vince. I don't have a problem with what they did, to be honest, because he got Big Show down and he punched him in the face, and he used brass knucks too. So we can't forget that he used the brass knucks to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was to believe it or not. I think it's one of Big Show's best moments at WrestleMania. One of his best.
Right.
But also, in a weird way, an embarrassing one too. I don't know why.
I think that's where I'm getting it, is because it was kind of in an embarrassing manner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like, Vince has been doing this since WrestleMania 1, where he's putting, celebrities and other athletes from a different sport over on his own guys that kill themselves for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was like LT and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Great. My fucking Twitter is blowing up. This ought to be interesting.
But move on from that, and we get
25 notifications. What did you do to me, Joe? You could have just ignored it.
I could have ignored it. The only reason I addressed it was because I felt this, and if a black person was listening to this, they would feel a little weird. So I just brought
Joe
it
is
up.
absolutely right, and I apologize. But let's move on, because then it's just going to get weird.
How could this black man beat up this white man? I don't understand. What the fuck? I don't care. Especially he's small. How could this black man?
Floyd's dick was
brass.
still bigger.
Yeah, his dick was big. I was thinking that when you first said it. That's the funniest thing. Yeah, the brass knucksy. That's how. But then we come to. I'm sure we missed some things, and I don't care. Oh, I know what we missed. We missed the WWE Championship match, which I think was. Horrible. It was terrible. It was fucking horrible. We had John Cena and Triple H got their rematch. It wasn't Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Cena. It wasn't Triple H and Cena. It was Cena, Triple H, but Orton was there too. And it was garbage. I hated this match. Randy Orton is super boring. Triple H, they were all boring. Triple H was the best in this match, but John Cena was a bore, and goddamn Randy Orton is a fucking snooze fest in this match. Fuck this match up the ass with a dick.
Ooh.
All right? I absolutely fucked those three in that match. Disgusting. I hated it. And I think it was short, but it felt like the world was a year had gone by when it was over. That being said, and I also hated the fact that the WWE Championship didn't go on last, and it was a quick match for the like it doesn't fucking matter. Are you kidding me? This is the WWE Championship. I fucking hate the world title. However, the world title is in the final match of the night, and this is the one world title match at WrestleMania that I was okay because it was Undertaker and Edge. Edge had been the champion, been playing the heel. Undertaker is in the main event at WrestleMania for the first time in I don't know how many years. And this was the last time I think he was in the main event at WrestleMania. So this was maybe the second time. I think he got 2 main events at WrestleMania. And this was the second one. The first one was it Diesel? Or am I thinking something? I remember I get that confused. Sid and Diesel and Undertaker.
Well, yeah, I mean they were equally as boring. So
what was the main event with Undertaker? Was it WrestleMania 13, right?
Yeah, 13 was Taker and Sid for the world title or the WWE title. Yeah.
Okay. So this was the only second time ever, and the only time besides that Undertaker main evented the final match of the night for the world title.
That's crazy to think, man.
It is crazy. And Undertaker beats Edge. This was one of Edge's best matches. It was one of the better Undertaker matches at WrestleMania, and pretty much the start of the streak at WrestleMania, where people started really counting and really obsessing about it, and also the start of I like that song.
What's that?
I heard that song. I just had to start. Da, 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 da. I heard that fucking song. It was amazing.
Okay. You heard a fucking toy? That
I heard
was
the
so
toy.
far away.
Yeah, dude. I was like, what is that? That's my entrance music. But no, it was just the beginning of that, and there we go. That's what it was. It was
Somebody
pretty good.
is claiming here that Taker took on Shawn Michaels at 26 in the main event.
Oh.
Was that their first one?
No, he's right, though. They're right. That is the third time that you're right. I think that's right. I think. I'll come back to that when we get to WrestleMania 26, but I think he might be right.
Was that the first time they fought?
No, that's the second time, because we're on 24 right now. The year after this will be Shawn and Taker the first time. That brings up a good point, though, because we didn't talk about Shawn and Flair after we sort of mentioned it. But Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, I'm glad you said that. So that was the main event. But the main event to me was Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. I mean, even though the match was pretty good. It was for Ric Flair's last time in the ring, what Shawn Michaels could do. I'm sure in these guys' prime they could have had a 9 or a 10 match. I would say that they had, like, for what their ages and everything that was going on, they kind of had like a 7.5 or an 8. Just as far as storytelling and emotion goes, I put that into that and give it an 8. Shawn Michaels, in this match against Ric Flair, took a absolutely horrific bump by doing a moonsault off that springboard off the second rope.
Yep.
Into that table, and goddamn breaks his rib. In fact, he did. He hurt his ribs. But you could see it on his face and just everything.
He's got a big grimace on his face.
Dude, that was insane. Ric Flair's blue trunks looked awesome. Charlotte was in the crowd, and goddamn, but I don't know why I did that. But I'm sorry.
What was that?
I don't know what the fuck that was.
Can I please ask a question? What was that?
I don't know what that was.
What was that noise?
the sound my privates make
Really?
when I see Charlotte.
That's the noise like your Peter head makes when fucking Charlotte's on the TV?
I like Charlotte. I think she's
I do
good
too,
looking.
but here's my problem with Charlotte. She either looks fucking absolutely sexy and I want to do her in every way possible, or she looks like a dude.
Oh.
What does that say about me?
I don't know. I'm more like in the middle with that. I'm more like, she's a little, whatever. I don't know. I like her. I like Charlotte.
Yeah, but look, now she's wearing like the fucking jewelry, like right
Yeah.
there on her eye.
Yeah. Like
You just want to make that a bullseye?
wear that jewelry on her thighs. She's just a pretty, I don't know. I think she's pretty. But not like Sasha and stuff. That's a whole different thing. But
or Becky for that matter.
yeah, Becky. What the hell was that?
I'm sorry. Did I do that? Did I do that out loud?
I don't know.
Start telling Isaac.
People are listening to this like, what the fuck is that?
I hope a few are just tuning in. We're going, oh, Becky.
This is totally unprofessional and horrible and whatever.
It is what it is.
Fuck you. So Shawn Michaels. Anyway, it ends. We know Ric Flair gets kicked in the face, and Shawn Michaels wins. He retires Ric Flair, and
Good match.
Emotional, good match, and I loved it. And it looks so good too. This WrestleMania looked aesthetically beautiful, like the palm tree thing, the outside, the weirdly red ropes that were orangey kind of red. Ric Flair's blue trunks, like Shawn Michaels' red pants, like just in the.
How about
white.
Ric Flair's pyro?
Ric Flair's huge pyro, his odd fucking cape that he wore, or whatever it was, the robe that was like tied, or like it like cut his neck supply off. It was really weird. I remember thinking that looked kind of strange.
Dude, his pyro was amazing this night.
You're right. It was crazy.
They did the crazy camera angle, and where the fireworks were all around the stadium. So cool. I love that.
I feel like we well, I'll mention this when we're done this whole thing.
For a white guy, he can really wrestle.
It was. I liked it. I liked the rest of this WrestleMania was better than 23 by big time. It was. I don't remember what else happened, and that's it. I'm sure we've forgotten. I know we've forgotten some things about some recent WrestleManias here because we didn't talk about Eddie Guerrero too much, and we didn't talk about MVP too much, and we didn't talk about maybe John Morrison. We didn't talk about there's a couple other people. And just knowing that, I know that there's some things we missed, but the matches were generic enough, to be honest, that I just don't remember. Yeah, that I don't remember. And
if we forgot them, guys, you can tweet them to us. Maybe I'll throw a quick mention real quick on here. What it is. I'm just saying, if we forgot them, that's the point of this podcast. It's what we remember. This is also around the time when women's wrestling went to shit. Absolute garbage wrestling. I think it might have been 23 or 20. This one, 24, where women's wrestling. You found out that women's wrestling is dead. So where do you think? Let me ask you a quick question, Joe. Yeah. She's looked at as one of the best women's wrestlers of all time, Beth Phoenix. Where would she sit nowadays? Beth Phoenix didn't really get a long time in the WWE. But she's looked at as being a true, she really stepped up for the women's division or the Divas division. So where would she be on a level nowadays? Would it just be like the... she's forgettable, to be honest, to me, because WWE didn't use her at all. They let her go in there against people that couldn't wrestle, and then they got rid of her for some... I don't know why she left. John here tweeted us and said MVP versus Benoit. 23 was good, but we're talking, So... I did, because I asked about the Beth Phoenix thing, right? And you said she's kind of forgettable, And it's funny because you talk about that nowadays, if you put it in terms of what we're seeing now, right? I had mentioned on my channel that the difference is you can see a clear-cut difference on this last week's Raw between the Total Divas people and their match and then Sasha versus Becky. Yeah. They were two different divisions, Joe. Yeah. They just looked so different. So I'm just wondering, so if Beth Phoenix was up nowadays, you think she's a part of that Total Divas division? If Beth Phoenix is up, she's in Natty's kind of position, Okay. I'm with you there. I agree. Yes, you were the best of the women wrestlers we had, but now you're moved to the side. You're in But what was the caliber of wrestling is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like, it's easy for Beth Phoenix to be looked at as being awesome when it was so shitty.
I loved Beth Phoenix, and I was at the time raging that she wasn't getting put over more and doing the right things. They mismanaged her, in my opinion. They fucked her up for years. Like, she should have been doing so many things that were, and then they sometimes did them right with her, but they just didn't use her right. It was fucking enraging to watch. Beth
Okay,
Phoenix
I got
was
a
so
quick.
good.
I just got tweeted by JD from New York. He said, "I'm calling the show. Answer my call, you beasts."
Wow.
That was from JD from New York. He just tweeted me on Twitter.
And I wasn't going to let anybody come in on this show. A lot of people wanted to, but I'll let JD come in.
We'll let JD come in because
Who knows what the hell he's going to say.
who knows what JD may have to say.
But so,
JD from New York.
But we're moving to WrestleMania 25 at this time. WrestleMania
Why was
25.
that guy tweeting us about 23, Joe?
I don't
We
know.
were talking about 24.
I don't know. But he wanted to go back in time.
Okay. Okay, it's 25. I'm
All
sorry.
right, 25 is an epic one because, again, that's the Shawn Michaels Undertaker #1. 25 was WrestleMania was starting to get better again a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it was like there was enough stars and stuff like that. I remember this. I'll tell you the first thing I remember. Besides Triple H besides Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, which we'll get to. I do want to say the next thing that I'm reminded of is Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. And I was so pissed off that Matt Hardy was facing Jeff Hardy because remember we thought Christian was coming back from TNA and he was going to be the one that was attacking Jeff Hardy. And like something got set on fire. And this was in the PG era, by the way. The WWE had gone PG by WrestleMania 25. Unfortunately. But yet this WrestleMania was better than 23. So, so something set on fire, and then ended up being Matt being like, "I've always been in the shadow of you," type of thing, and I was like, "Oh, I don't really like what they did," because everyone. But then it was also said that they were definitely doing Christian. Christian was supposed to get that spot, and it ended up going to Jeff Hardy because Matt Hardy because the fans figured it out and it wasn't going to be a surprise. Which I thought was stupid because I'd been really hoping it was Christian. I've been hoping that like they'd renew this kind of rivalry they had, and he's coming back from TNA after a while, and I loved the idea of it. This was also the WrestleMania where is JD calling from Skype or from a cell phone? Because there's someone calling, but I don't want to answer it if it's not him. Is he calling from what's his area code?
I don't know. JD, if you're listening, you can tweet me. That way Joe doesn't get too distracted on that side because I know he's running a lot of shit over there.
So the Wrestler had come out just recently.
Yes.
The movie The Wrestler, and I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Mickey Rourke. And WWE condemned the shit out of it. They were like, fuck this movie. Vince was like, that's not what wrestling is like, and we're not going to da-da-da-da-da. Literally, like a couple weeks later, Vince McMahon and the WWE did a complete 180, and they were molesting the movie. And they were in love with it and proud to be involved in it. And yes, we are. Wrestling is like this. It's just the funniest thing. I've never seen something like it. The movie The Wrestler's coming out. They completely denounce it. They don't have any fucking thing to do with it. And then the minute it becomes successful, it gets success. It gets popularity. And the WWE says, oh, we love this movie. Hey, let's bring Mickey Rourke to WrestleMania.
That proves to you, thank you, Joe, that proves to you and all the young fans just what the WWE are all about. Continue, Joe.
Yeah, and it's horseshit.
It is horseshit. I agree with you. It's fucking horseshit.
Oh, I think JD might be the 917 calling. So call again, JD. I'll answer the phone. If it's not JD, I'm just gonna hang up on you. All right, call again, JD. I'll get you on.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
The Money in the Bank ladder match for
Yes.
this pay-per-view? Who won? Was
it? I think CM Punk won again, didn't he?
Did he? Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that he had won that thing twice, but I was not for sure.
I think
so
he won
it. Totally makes sense
the
now.
first time he won it was that bullshit World Championship run that he had.
Oh, yeah, it was awful on SmackDown.
Yes, but this was the one where it was like the real deal. You know what I mean? I forget when he... I don't remember too much. But anyway, let's
This
go.
pay-per-view is remembered for one reason, people, simply, and that is Taker versus Shawn.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
In my book, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking that that's the way it is.
It is. That's really what it became about.
It felt like they went for an hour. But anyways, Joe, sorry.
I would say that, well, no, I mean, whatever you remember too, but no, it felt like they did go for a while. And then they did. I think they had the longest match of the night. In fact,
Hands down. It had to have been at least 30 minutes.
they, I want to say, so Chris Jericho had this big thing where he didn't like the legends, and he was making fun of people. Like, they did a whole wrestler type of thing. Like, I'm sick of you old-timers taking up spots and being in the ring, and you has-beens, you don't leave wrestling. And,
was it Piper in that?
Yeah, he wrestled Steamboat. Steamboat was fucking phenomenal. Like,
I remember that.
Piper and Snuka was done quick, and he didn't look too good. Piper did okay, and then he was out. And then Steamboat was goddamn running the ropes and doing splashes. JD, what's up?
Joe, Justin, how you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. I wasn't going to take anybody
What's up, JD?
on this call tonight because we're just doing a podcast, but I'm taking you because I love you.
I love you too, Joe. Thank you very much, man. Listen, I'm up drinking,
Nice.
and I'm editing videos, and I'm fucking editing off the script tomorrow.
Looking at porn.
And I'm looking at porn, yeah. Listen to music, fucking doing my Call of Duty shit as well for tomorrow. You're talking about WrestleMania 25, bro. WrestleMania 25, the #1 match in the history of WrestleMania is the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels.
Right.
This pay-per-view in particular, the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
And the ropes are blue. Remember that?
And the ropes are blue, yes.
And they lit the audience in a blue way, too. It was a very blue WrestleMania. I remember that, too.
I felt like that match between Taker and Michaels, it almost felt like a Lakers game because, it was like all the lights. It was just like, it was like theater. You know what I mean?
Well,
Justin, did you think at one point during the match Shawn Michaels was actually going to break the streak?
Absolutely.
That's all that you needed during that match.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's all that Shawn Michaels was the perfect antagonist for this match to give you the believability that he was going to break the Undertaker streak. Nobody in the history of the streak has given you that perception. You know what? I'm going to go in there, I'm going to walk into WrestleMania and break the Undertaker streak. Shawn Michaels is the only one that made you believe. You know, minus the Brock Lesnar situation.
That's
that was
where it
beyond
started.
anybody's control because Undertaker legit suffered a concussion.
This is really where it started. I mean, like, the streak had been going on, obviously, but this is really where the hype began. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker put the hype of the streak on the map here and made it as big as WrestleMania itself. Like, they could have... I mean, it was crazy what they did with this thing. And
Let me ask you guys.
You guys talk about Steamboat and Savage and everything else about WrestleMania. WrestleMania aside, this may be the greatest match that WWE has ever put on, in my honest opinion. I will stand behind that because of what the match did for us as a fan base and with Jim Ross behind commentary and the way he called the match. And I understand some aspects of the match may not be looked upon as so great to the elitists out there because, Shawn Michaels kicked out of the Tombstone. He kicked out of the Last Ride. Undertaker kicked out of fucking 3 super kicks. But the way the match was built, you can't find any match better than that one under the circumstances that it was given to us. It was just amazing in all aspects.
And here's the funniest thing about it. The next match that went on was John Cena, Edge, and The Big Show. Kill you.
I don't remember a fucking goddamn thing about it.
Exactly.
And then guess what?
And you know
after that-
what, Joe?
Yeah.
You look at WrestleMania 26 and you look back at WrestleMania 25, that should have been the match that ended everything.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 26 to me, it was a good match, but they were never going to live up to the expectation of what WrestleMania 25 was. Never.
The 25 match, the complete match at 25 was better. That's why it was the best and better. The complete match itself was better and the best. John Cena, we're going in order here, so we'll get to 26 after, but I do... it's interesting what happens in 26, but...
Well, hang on a second. I want to mention one more thing about the Taker match with Shawn.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan of match pacing. I felt like that first match with Shawn and Taker was paced so perfectly to the point where you got a big spot, right? And then you think, holy shit, that was amazing. Only to get overdone by the very next one.
Yeah.
How many times do you watch a match where some huge spot happens and then the finish isn't as big as what it should have felt like when this person is finally pinned? That match to me was paced so perfectly. Like it was like the emotional roller coaster of like, by the time that match was done, how are you going to have any energy left after that pinfall?
Yeah, it was
Because it was just a fucking roller coaster. You thought at one time that there's no way he's gonna win this thing now, and then it just kept flip flopping. I could go on and on about it, but the match pacing is a huge key factor in why that match, JD, is looked at as one of the, if not the best, one of the best matches of all time.
You know what, guys? If you go back, and I consider this match, to me personally, my favorite match of all time. Not many matches that you guys love personally, you can go back and relive to this very day, and they would live up to the expectation that you want to this very day in 2016. If you think of this match and you go back and watch it and you relive it and you fucking love everything about it, and you come to this very day, this is the match that you think 15, 20, 25 years down the line, you're going to look back and say, you know what, this match still holds the test of time. This is going to be one of those matches that's going to live in the annals of time, that's going to go down in history as one of the best matches ever.
And this WrestleMania will go
and
down.
There's not many matches that you can think about that perception of. You can't think about many matches like that in period. The 1992 Royal Rumble comes to mind. Every time the Royal Rumble comes around, every year, no matter if it's 2016, 17, 18, 19, I'm going to go back and watch that Royal Rumble all the time because that's the one that just remains with me, period, as an old school fan. You're going to always go back and watch that shit. Same thing pertains to the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25 match. It's going to live forever.
And the cool thing was at 25, 25 isn't that long ago, and we were like, we're jaded already from wrestling at 25, and we're like, we've seen all the best stuff. It feels like already, and then you're like, cool, we get to see Shawn Michaels versus the Undertaker. It's kind of like the old school Attitude Era, and we get to see it again. This is kind of cool, and we didn't know, it was gonna be what it was. We didn't know we were gonna get one of these greatest wrestling matches ever. You just thought, I'm going to be hyped for this because it's Undertaker and Shawn. But then it ends up being this great fucking thing. And once again, Triple H and Randy Orton are in the main event. And do we fucking remember?
No.
It's unbelievable.
Can I ask you a question, Joe?
Yeah.
Because I know you're a Shawn Michaels guy, and everybody knows I'm a Bret Hart guy. Let me ask you a question. I know we need to move on, but I have to know this. Shawn versus Taker at 25, right?
Yeah.
Is that to you what Bret versus Steve at 97's WrestleMania is to me?
Yeah, Bret versus Steve is Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13 is those two matches are phenomenal. Those are if I have to take 3 matches with me to an island, you know what I mean? And you told me it's going to have to be the Iron Man match with Shawn and Bret, and Stone Cold at WrestleMania 13 with Bret, and Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, 25. I'm going to the island happy.
Like, if I need something to numb my pain, like if I sat through a 3-hour garbage festival from Monday Night Raw and I need to reassure why I watch what I watch every single week, I go to Bret versus Steve Austin at 97 at WrestleMania. Is that what like Shawn versus Taker is to you at 25? Since you're such a Shawn guy?
Yeah, I guess so. I gotta be, it's weird. I don't compare them in a way. I kind of like, other than them both being awesome, it's not necessarily like that to me because that Stone Cold and Bret Hart match, nothing's really going to be like that. I think they're two different matches, but awesome in the same way. And I know what you're saying. You're comparing that's your Bret Hart match, and is this my Shawn Michaels? No, I guess
the simple question is this your favorite one?
Yeah. My favorite Shawn Michaels match?
Yeah. Like, this is your fallback. When people are like, why do you like Shawn Michaels so much? You flick this match on.
No,
or is it a different one?
I honestly come up with a lot of examples, but I would say I love WrestleMania 25, and it's one of the best matches, of Shawn Michaels' career. But no, I think there's a lot I love. I think it is probably the best one. Yeah, it'd be the number one, absolutely, no doubt, because it's just it's better than any other match we could mention, really, to me. But Shawn Michaels even at like WrestleMania 14. I love that match just because if his back is as bad as we think it is.
Yeah.
I know there's conspiracies that it's not. Maybe he fake sold the back, so that makes me wonder. But
we've talked about doing a podcast pertaining to that some other time.
But anyway, we're here with JD, so we've added even more artillery to this fucking thing, which is great. We talked about.
I only wanted to come to you guys, come on the show to talk about how much I love Undertaker versus HBK.
You wanted to get in on this one.
That was it. I mean, I didn't want to interject into what you guys were doing here, but.
All right, well, you could stay if
I mean,
you want.
I agree with Joe. If I was to take 2 matches, period, it would be that one and the Bret Hart versus Stone Cold match at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat then, I guess, because those are the 2 matches I fall back on as like the iconic matches in wrestling history. And JD, I do appreciate you coming on, man, and give us the words of wisdom.
Yeah, baby. Well,
I'm here listening to you guys. I had my subs tweeting out. Oh, Joe's doing a podcast about WrestleMania. I'm like, let me call in. Let me see if he's taking calls. I'm drinking beer. Might as well,
we're not, but I'll take
you guys and throw my 2 cents in.
I'll take your goddamn call anytime. But we're not because the other
hey,
two.
Here's what we do, Joe.
Yeah.
The theme of the show is remembering WrestleMania. If me and Joe were failing to remember something, JD calls in to save us.
Yeah, because we've forgotten some things.
You guys are good enough to remember everything. I just want to listen. Undertaker. A lot of you guys and the people listening don't know how much I love Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. I've went on and on about how that's my favorite match ever since it happened. I remember exactly where I was, what I was doing, and how everything led up to that match. It's just amazing. WrestleMania 26 might have had a better story going into that match, but the way that match actually, was fleshed out and finished and everything that happened in the ring,
the way it was executed,
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That spike, and we'll probably have to wait till we get there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I will say the way he spiked Shawn and just everything, the way his career ended was, you couldn't ask for anything better. It was that WrestleMania sucks too. We're going into a WrestleMania that blows next. This WrestleMania was better than 26, I believe. Jericho's thing with Roddy Piper and all that stuff, that was cool. Jericho got the win, then got punched by Mickey Rourke. Kind of cute little thing. I like the way that story went. Like, that was entertaining. Like, if you go back and watch WrestleMania 25, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and maybe Hardy versus Hardy, and I think you could probably watch the Money in the Bank match, and then you'd probably watch the Jericho thing, because the Jericho thing was kind of interesting in a way. But once you get to Cena, Edge, and Big Show, you don't give a shit. You could not give a shit. And then Triple H and Randy Orton, I think if I remember, that match was actually okay. They had a huge rivalry at this time, and it literally just got, and unfortunately for them, because it was, as much as I don't like Randy Orton and Triple H usually in matches and shit, this was I think it was a pretty okay match, but it just, people were done, Like, fuck this, Wasn't this the year when Triple H, broke into his house or whatever? Randy Orton broke into Triple H's house and they tried to do some goofy thing. But yet there was cameras everywhere. It didn't make any sense. Anyway, fuck it. Now we're off to a WrestleMania that sucks. WrestleMania 26, which was 2010. We're getting closer here. This was the red and yellow themed Arizona WrestleMania, I believe. And I remember it was it just wasn't a fucking, what the fuck is that? Is that JD? JD, you doing something over there? Oh no, that's me.
No, I'm listening to you guys, man.
Oh, wrestling. I got Wrestling Inc. open on one of my browsers, and it's like fucking some commercial about someone's watch is playing. Okay, so this was another one of those WrestleManias where so much shit happened that it's hard to remember everything because there were so many people there and so much shit that happened. I remember. The first thing I'll talk about, because it comes to my mind right away, is, good night, Leah. Leah's going to bed. Is Bret Hart returned to the WWE?
Yep.
Bret,
yeah. In his jean shorts.
In his jean shorts. And then they,
I'm face palming right now, by the way.
Fucking thing was so long, though, is what I remember. It just felt so long, but it was fun. It was so good that Bret Hart returned. When he came back, I was so pumped up about this, and he's going to face McMahon, and I'm like, what is he going to be able to do in this match? Because he can't do shit with the concussions and the stroke and everything. And it was a little bit sad too, because like just a few years earlier, it seems like Bret Hart was fucking wrestling and flying around the ring. Bret Hart should not be in this shape at this time. He should have been still competing in the WWE, not walking slowly to the ring and seeming
jean
awkward.
shorts and a t-shirt.
But it was still cool to see him. Now they did some weird angle where Vince McMahon paid off Bret's family, which never fucking made sense to me at all. I just didn't believe it.
It was piss poor. It was rushed.
It was stupid. It was a stupid idea to get all the Harts involved or whatever. And I know it's probably Bret Hart's fault. I'm sure it's Bret Hart being like, I want them all to be there. I want them da 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 da. And then they had to do something stupid.
Why do you got to blow this back on Bret?
Because I think it's got to be him.
Why?
I just think it's him.
You don't think Vince wanted to involve his family?
No. Yeah, I'll be there, but you're gonna bring all my family here. That's what he would do. That's you telling me that it's not Bret Hart?
I don't think so, but okay.
I think it is. Vince, Bret, let's get all your, that's not. I mean, it is a Vince kind of angle, though. I think that Bret wanted to involve his family, and Vince came up with it. I mean, I think that's what happened. And I think it sucked. But anyway, it was cool watching McMahon get his ass whipped by a chair at one point by Bret. We get to see Bret throw punches. I was almost coming watching it, to be honest. I mean, I'm not. Even as bad as people say it was.
Just fucking spilled beer everywhere.
I mean,
and to me, guys, honestly, I think the match that Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon had actually blew this one out of the water.
Oh yeah,
right.
we talked about that not too long ago. That was an epic match, and
I'm sure Bret and him could have had a good match though. JD had Bret not been held down.
If Bret didn't get like I said, if he wasn't
I
injured.
totally agree. I just think that Vince used Bret for his name recognition, and that was it for this match.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, when you look at Matt, you'll watch it just because it's a little shocking to see, like, oh, Bret returned. This is so cool that he's returning and everything. But yeah, the Shawn Michaels at 22 was, that was a good that was a story and a match. But Bret just can't physically do it. That's the problem. But what they did with what Bret could do, I think was a mistake.
It was a spectacle.
Yeah, it was too long. It was because a lot of newer fans are watching. And they didn't understand what was going on. It just seemed very boring to them.
Was it that long?
It was like 15 minutes long or something. The match itself was 15 minutes long, but the pageantry before and after took up another 5 to 10 minutes. So you had 30-something minutes, or 30 minutes of Bret Hart. Which, I mean, deservedly, the guy deserves some time, but it just went too damn long.
I feel you. I'm with you.
But I love seeing Bret. Like I said, I'm jizzing in my pants when he got in there. And then all of a sudden at the end, the whole Hart family flips. And that was awkward on Vince. And it was like Vince was surprised. And it just was a little weird. But it was only a Canadian would come up with this, I'm telling you.
It was fun.
Ask Dave Rose. This was right out of fucking Dave Rose's goddamn fucking book.
I buried fucking Dave Rose last night.
Yeah. You sure did. People want you guys to kill each other.
That's
Did you
fine.
hear that, JD? You got to listen to Monetize This. Dave Rose thinks you could kill more people just as many people with a fish in a movie theater as an AK-47.
And a knife. He thinks he can knife people quicker in a movie theater. He thinks he can have a more body count with a knife in a movie theater than a fucking AK-47.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It's okay. I'm going to bury him again tomorrow on State of the WWE.
He also seemed to confuse your...
Was he drunk?
Yeah, he was, but I mean, this was before he...
I like how me and Joe both were just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's also Canadian, JD, so that doesn't really matter.
But I also think he missed our point that we said like gun laws and some restrictions, but he took it as taking all the guns away. Like it was really weird.
He's a silly bitch is what he is.
All right, well he's up in Canada. So I think this was clearly a Canadian's idea, and Bret Hart's the Canadian. But so it was great to see Bret Hart. I was also excited about the fact, you're getting Bret Hart. You're getting
Absolutely,
Shawn Michaels.
Joe.
Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, and then Bret Hart. They're all in the same WrestleMania. Holy shit. WrestleMania 26. Okay, I don't care about almost anything else. I don't remember what happened.
You know what should have happened in that Shawn and Taker match?
Yeah.
Brett should have came out and told the referee to ring the bell when Taker had Shawn in the sharpshooter.
And Shawn retired.
God damn it! Retribution's a motherfucker. It should have happened.
Oh, that would have been so bad, but yet funny. I don't know. That would have been. Oh, I don't know. Fuck, I don't
You
know.
would have went ape shit, and you would not look at Brett the same.
That would be a terrible idea. Yeah, that would have been.
I'm
not
sorry,
good.
I just had to get that.
It's
out of
really
my
fun to think about, but that would be a terrible idea.
Brett comes out there, do it, Joe. Ring the bell. Do it.
Ring the damn bell. No, it would have been better if, like, you know, what would have had to happen for that to happen is Bret Hart would have had to, like, the match, the build up, all the brothers and sisters are coming out, and he's like, he's rubbing his fists and just pulling up his sleeves, and the next thing you know, Bret just lays down in the middle of the ring, and then Vince wins. And you know, Brett looks kind of like a little bit ashamed, and you're like, why would he do that? What the hell's going on? Vince just beat Brett. And then, like, have one of the WWE reporter guys try to go to Brett and be like, what was that about? What just happened? Why did Vince McMahon just beat you and everything? And Vince is celebrating, I beat Bret Hart. I beat Bret Hart. And then later on when that happens, you find out why Bret Hart laid down and let Vince beat him. Because then Vince gave him the power to do whatever. Anyway, what a fucking great idea in an alternate universe.
We should have been bookers, Joe.
Randy Orton made these fucking poor guys who were all coming up and starting to, you know, be on their own. Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. Randy Orton beats them both. Triple threat type of deal. I think Randy Orton was supposed to be the face, but it was stupid and weird, in my opinion. He was the leader of these guys, kind of treated them like bitches, and the next thing you know, now they're all having a match against each other, which the whole thing was retarded.
I agree.
Fucking hated
I don't
it.
even remember it, Joe.
I don't really remember. I remember Randy Orton lining them up with that DDT he does when he puts the guy on the second rope and, like, they're lifeless, and then he drops them on their heads and the DDT on the second rope. I remember him doing, like, a double DDT to both of them. And I just remember thinking Ted DiBiase Jr. looks like $1 million. Like, he literally looks amazing. And Cody Rhodes looks amazing. Well, I mean, not his face, but I mean,
Hey, Joe?
What? Yes.
Can I ask you a real quick question?
Yeah.
The triple threat match between those three guys,
Yeah.
it was, Randy Orton, Triple H, and Edge. Is that right? Or not Edge, but Randy Orton, Triple H. It was just those two, right?
At WrestleMania 26?
Yeah.
No, it's Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase against Randy Orton, like all three of them. Triple threat.
See? This is why we call it Remembering WrestleMania and not WrestleMania Facts.
But the funny thing is, I literally just told you that a second ago.
You did?
Yeah, I said this is the match when this was to happen. You're fucking brain dead.
Well, I'm fucking drinking, dude. Get off me.
God damn it. We're going to get to that Shawn Undertaker thing, and that's when I think JD will come in too with this. I know Jack Swagger defeated somebody for something.
It was Money in the Bank.
Oh, it was
ladder
Money in the
match.
Bank. That's what it was. Okay.
Why Jack Swagger was on WrestleMania, I have no fucking idea.
Well, this
Are
is
you
his.
kidding me? Jack Swagger's the fucking shit.
Well, this
No,
was
he's a beast, dude. But I mean, I would like for him to be presented in a decent way for me to believe, you know, he belongs there.
His
yeah, this
gimmick
was
sucks.
his gimmick. Then was like, I'm athletic,
Yeah.
and I'm an American, the All-American. So it was just literally generic All-American American wrestler. It wasn't Kurt Angle. You know, it was more like just what the fuck, and then he wins this thing. And he looks like Biff from Back to the Future. Then I think Rey Mysterio and CM Punk. Rey Mysterio had that weird light blue fucking outfit on. And for some reason, Rey Mysterio goes over on Punk at WrestleMania 26.
I'm sure Punk was stoked.
I'm sure he loved it. I don't remember anything else or why or who cares, and that's basically where I'm at. What else happened? We talked about Bret Hart. We talked about the other thing. The World Heavyweight Championship was... I don't remember that match. I don't know who it was. WrestleMania 26. I don't know who it was. It doesn't... I know the women's match sucked because, again, this was when women's wrestling had died, so who gives a fuck? I don't even care who was in it. Fuck them all. And again, this is a WrestleMania where this match was horrible. John Cena wrestling Batista, or I thought this was Batista and Orton again, but I guess it was just John Cena and Batista. Either way, because I think Randy Orton had that match against the DiBiase. I'm pretty sure that's right. But it was awful. John Cena versus Batista was fucking pissed, was stupid. I didn't give a shit. And And then who cares? And then the Undertaker took on Shawn Michaels. No disqualification this time, I think it was. It was streak versus career. And they had another match that was really good. And fucking just a great... It was like a great sequel, like movies. Like when you see Back to the Future, the first one or something. Like, and think of any movie. There's lots of them, but... Like, say Back to the Future, the first one, you're like, this movie's fucking great. You watch the second one, and you're like, I like this, but it's not quite the first one, but you're like, yes, I'll take another one of these. It's when you do the same thing again, and you kind of stick to the same formula, and it's never as good, but it's almost just as good.
You know what it is, guys? I think the fact that The Undertaker and HBK and the stipulations that were given to each one going into the match, I think that kind of soured the crowd because the crowd kind of knew one of them was going to be done after the match was over, and
I think they knew Shawn Michaels was leaving.
They couldn't fully accept that yet, you know?
I think they knew Shawn Michaels was leaving because I did. Yeah. I was like, oh man, this is Shawn Michaels'
So
career.
that kind of soured the crowd a little bit, and that's why, if you compare the crowds between 25 and 26, it's nowhere near where 25 was when you look at 26.
Well, let me ask you guys a question, because when I was watching these, I guess you would call them, kind of the series between these two guys at 25 and 26, which one of these matches had the part where Michaels moonsaulted off the top to take her onto the announce table?
I believe that's this one.
That was 26.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have to say, that spot, let me paint a picture for you, okay?
The spots there's 2 or 3 spots were better in this one, but the match of 25 was better.
Yeah. Absolutely. When I was sitting there and I remember watching the match and I see Shawn going up top, and when he's climbing up the turnbuckle as Taker's on that announce table, he's climbing up the turnbuckle and he's got his back face to Taker. I'm of the understanding that Shawn is going to turn and do the elbow drop as he's known to do.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him never turning around. I'm like, what the fuck is he going to do? Because at this point, I had not seen Shawn do a lot of moonsaults. Right. I'm just saying, it's not a common thing for me to see him do a moonsault. But when he got up there, I'm like, what the fuck is he going to do? And I'm looking at my friend like, oh my God, is he really going to do it? And I remember seeing when he did that, I will never forget, literally like jumping up, like, holy, like it just took my breath away.
Yeah. I mean,
when he hit him on the table.
You think about Ric Flair when he did the springboard and he busted his ribs, like, and then now he's doing a fucking moonsault off the thing, and he did do he did whip out the moonsault quite a bit, like WrestleMania 12. But
it wasn't that common because we didn't see it all the time on TV.
No, he didn't do as much. He whipped it out.
No, but Justin, you have to understand that 25, Shawn Michaels went all out to try and beat the streak.
Yeah.
In 26, he was going to go that extra mile to make sure that his career would not end by the hands of The Undertaker. So if that meant moonsaulting off the top rope onto the announce table and whatever it took, he was going to do that to make sure The Undertaker was going to walk out of WrestleMania with a loss.
And it's a great point to build on JD's what he's saying, because I get it, that it's all part of storytelling. Shawn is willing to put, his life on the line in order to defeat The Undertaker. Like, I get that. And that's great, because I remember the moment when Shawn hit Taker with that. You're standing there, you got both your hands on your head, kind of like you're getting a blowjob, like, holy shit, but you're in you're in awe. You know what I mean? You're like, holy, he did not do that.
Yeah.
I remember it being insane and standing there just in disbelief, did it not take forever for those guys to get back up?
It probably did. And you know what? I know for a fact, too, because I looked this up before. This match did go longer than the other one. It did go longer than 25. But just slightly, but it did. And
I'll tell you what, this match had over the other one, it had Michael Cole calling the match instead of Jim Ross. So that also took away from entire, severity of the match.
Yep.
If HBK was going to really end his career, why would you want Michael Cole calling that match instead of Jim Ross?
Yeah.
That's
what, I didn't even remember that, and that is unfortunately despicable. Because Cole Jim Ross is so much better. and making you believe it. It really put in the passion. Cole's always. I remember years ago being angry that Cole was calling WrestleMania 15. I remember being so mad, and I'm not joking. And when I was 15 years old, and I was like, God damn it, why isn't JR here? Michael Cole sucks. His voice isn't commanding, and he just sounds weird. I don't know, I can't explain it. And then JR, I think, comes out at WrestleMania 15 to call the last match. And it was like, thank God.
I've stated this before on, I believe, this podcast series and on my show as well, that when Michael Cole was with Taz, I actually was okay with that combo. Mm-hmm. I thought that they had really good chemistry. But after, Taz was out of the picture, Michael Cole just, to me, has kind of been just absolutely non-existent to me.
He's
like,
weird.
I can't stand to hear his fucking voice.
Sometimes he steps it up and sounds better, and then sometimes he just doesn't.
He tries too hard. That's how I feel. He tries too hard. I think I mentioned this too, that there are moments when they know it's supposed to be epic and iconic.
Yeah.
So he steps his voice up to make sure that he knows, this is going to be on a lot of promos and stuff here in the future.
Yeah.
But it sounds too forced.
What I do when I'm calling matches a lot of times is I just make it seem like this is real. Like, you should be invested in this because these guys are beating the hell out of each other and all that type of stuff. And you're like, it makes you believe, even in a crappy match, if you watch my Cronin Calls the Indies, like, these matches are stupid with these people, but they seem more iconic because I'm really invested in calling this thing. And that might be a little ridiculous, but I think that's what the guy on SmackDown does now. And I would rather listen to him than Michael Cole.
Well, it's like, Joe, it's like with you, when I commentated for wrestling, I didn't look at the card. I wanted to genuinely feel the emotion of when somebody wins or somebody loses.
Yeah, just like Kenny Bowen was saying the other night. I agreed with him 100%. I don't like to go into the room unless there's something tricky I need to know about. I don't want to fucking know. But yeah, Michael Cole seems like it's like the generic commentating and the corporate thing, and here's where you're going to say the commercial, and here's where you're going to make sure you say the spectacle of this, and it just, none of it seems real. It's
that initial emotion when that moment hits that truly you hear your natural reaction.
All right, let's get out of WrestleMania 26. I think any closing statements on it that we can make. I thought it was a bad WrestleMania, other than Shawn and Undertaker for the most part, and Bret Hart being there, just being there. Bret Hart could have ate a squirrel live on TV. He could have gotten in the ring and shit on the mat, and that that still would have been my second favorite thing, I think, about that WrestleMania. So, I mean, whatever.
Really? I'm not going to lie. I'm judging right now.
Well, good for you. I'll smell his poop. Let's go to WrestleMania 27. Really? WrestleMania 27. Kind of like, where do we go from here, WrestleMania is what I call this. We're deep into the PG era, and we got to recover from this terrible WrestleMania, knowing that a guy like Shawn Michaels isn't in the WWE anymore. And what do? We start off WrestleMania 27 with a guy who sort of, in a way, takes over for Shawn Michaels. Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus in a... there was a stipulation to this match. I don't remember what it was, though.
It was a lumberjack match.
Lumberjack match. That's right, for the United States.
Come on, bro. We love Daniel Bryan, man. You got to remember this kind of shit.
This was the U.S. Title.
Yes, it was.
And I don't think... Is this one on? Was that match on TV? Because I don't think I have it on my.
It was not on TV.
They didn't put it on the DVD then, because I don't have. It's not on my DVD. But I know for a fact that I remember it. But actually, I remember it being on the card and thought it was on the fucking thing.
In fact, the first match that opened the show was Edge versus Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, is that what? That's what started the whole show.
That's what opened the show. Yeah, because they thought the World Heavyweight Championship was a great way to open the show and get people excited for it.
Right. Okay, that's right. I don't remember, but that's funny. What happens? Because I don't remember it.
Who the fuck won that match? I have no idea.
Edge and Del Rio.
That's how unimportant it was.
I'm pretty sure.
I know. He was with Rodriguez and Brodus Clay at the time.
I'm pretty sure Edge won that match. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Edge won that.
I don't even remember. I'm sure maybe Edge did.
Yeah, Edge did when he beat Del Rio, and that was actually Edge's last match in WWE forever.
Wow. Oh, yes.
Because of the neck injury. Yeah.
I do remember this now.
You think he knew that night?
I think he knew. Yeah,
I remember this now because
at that point
the ropes again were red or something at this pay-per-view. I do remember that. The rope color really like aesthetics about things make me remember things. It's weird.
So October must be a fucking nightmare for you.
Yeah, everything's just blah.
Pink as fuck everywhere.
I hate the pink stuff. Just blends in for me. I don't remember what pink from what other thing. Pink in the Stink. What else happened? This is 27. I know this was I know this was The Miz and John Cena. I know that. But
Cody Rhodes defeated Rey Mysterio.
Oh.
This is the one that also had Snooki and John Morrison, Trish Stratus versus Lay Cool. And Dolph Ziggler.
Remember Morrison treats Trish like shit?
Oh my god, dude. I think I got AIDS while just reading the fucking results off Wikipedia.
I think
Snooki, that's how bad this WrestleMania was. Dude. I can't even remember what happened.
Snooki does that fucking round off thing, which was I was impressed by that a little bit. I gotta give her.
Oh my god!
That's one of the things I remember about the WrestleMania. Isn't that tells you how fuck of a butt fuck this WrestleMania was. This WrestleMania was exactly like the 26 and 25, but without the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels match. But it did have the Undertaker versus Triple H,
and that was a great match.
And that was a good match. And that was the new thing. They passed the torch to Undertaker and Triple H because that was the match of the night. That was the best match on the card. They killed it again.
It was a continuation. I love how WWE didn't even mention. It was a continuation from what Shawn Michaels tried to do, and Triple H, being his best friend, tried to kind of pick up where Shawn Michaels failed. I love that, and WWE didn't even make mention of that, but we knew, you know?
Yeah. I thought
this was literally the only reason I think that I tuned in for this Mania. Reason being because in 2001, when Triple H and Taker had their match at 17, I remember that match just being so like, holy shit. There's no titles involved. There's no TLC involved. Like, that match was just beautiful from start to finish. So my standards were kind of high going into this one. But I wasn't disappointed. It's just obvious that it wasn't as good as that one.
A couple people spoiled me and sent me messages about Edge versus Jericho at the previous Mania. I don't remember it. I guess it was good. CM Punk versus Orton at 27. That we left that off. I don't think it was that good. I don't remember it.
Does anybody remember the Taker versus Triple H at 20 or 17?
It's 17. Yeah, because I remember they went out of the ring. Remember we talked about this when we were reviewing it on the part 2.
Yeah.
And they did that back body drop off the stanchion thing or whatever.
Yeah, and because I think, did that match not end, Joe, with the last ride off the top turnbuckle?
I think so. Yeah, I think I didn't remember that when you said that, and then I remember it now. Yeah.
Yeah, because and again, that's just why I'm saying to the point of this WrestleMania is I'm kind of like wanting to see that again, I guess, and that's the problem because that's not what we were going to get. We were obviously getting a different story. We were going to get a different pace. And I was not disappointed because I did learn that, like, look, Justin, it's not 2001. They're not going to do that again.
Yeah.
You need just respect the story that's trying to be told. As JD mentioned, this is Triple H as Shawn's friend trying to do what he couldn't do in honor of Shawn.
I thought this was just so good. It was
beautiful.
It was really a great match.
Yeah, and I love that they didn't make mention of that. I don't recall them making mention of that on Twitter on WWE television.
They didn't talk about 17. I think somebody did slip it in. I think at one point, like well, this actually isn't the first. They actually met back at WrestleMania 17 too, and that's all they said. And that was it. And it was one time, and I remember it, and I don't remember where. And actually, I could be misremembering. They might have not said it at all, and to be honest. But I thought I remembered them one time mentioning, but not elaborating on it at all after that. But that being said, that was it. I will say The Miz and John Cena, one of the weirdest fucking things ever. This was the one with The Rock was the host, right?
Yes.
And The Rock screwed over
Yes.
Cena. Okay. So restart the match, everyone, and then he waffles Cena, and then the Miz retains. Which, by the way, I was clapping and cheering and laughing. I love that. So just because I'm an asshole. So I like to see a train wreck. You know, the match, everything was a train wreck about this thing. Setting up The Rock and Cena, that was a train wreck to me. As fun as it is to say we're setting up a match that's going to happen a year from now, is interesting and unprecedented, as you want to call that. It is absolutely disastrous.
Asinine.
Yeah, asinine and disastrous.
Yeah, this whole WrestleMania was a disaster.
Yeah.
I wanted to love The Miz as champion, but
He had
the
a
way
great
they booked
video
him
package.
was a complete disgrace and a coward.
Yes.
They didn't book him as a fighting champion at all. They booked him as the cowardly, and I mean cowardly in capital letters, heel.
Was it Alex
Well,
Riley
he
with
John
him?
Cena, it didn't mean
Yeah.
anything.
He did have Alex O'Reilly with him. I think he was a little cowardly. I did kind of like it in a way because they went back to this, like, you know, it's not John Cena versus fucking Ric Flair. It's not John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. It's not John Cena Triple H. It's not John Cena versus the bad heel guy. It was the cowardly guy who no one thinks should be champion, who's weaseling. But anyway, that all might be bad.
I just didn't like that he couldn't hold up in the ring.
Yeah, The Miz still wrestled like he was in the mid card, so you got John Cena, who for the most part wrestles like shit in this match, and then you got The Miz, who is a mid carder, who basically puts on an average good wrestling matches, good little wrestling matches. So when you put good little wrestling matches, mid card guy versus John Cena, who I think sucks ass at this time. You just get shit I will never remember again. I'll never fucking remember a thing that happened in this match. But I will say the Miz's video package was fucking awesome.
Yes, I agree with you.
I was actually pumped up when the Miz came out because it was so fucking good. They used that rap song. I forget what it was. The clips they showed, it was so good. Go back and watch the package for the Miz. Fucking phenomenal. And then he came out with the awesome thing. That was cool. And then everything went to shit. And there you go. Fuck WrestleMania 27. Let's go to 28. Unless anybody thinks of something else. I can't. I can think of having AIDS, like JD said.
Can I ask you a real quick question, though, regarding The Miz?
Sure.
Who would you compare him to somebody in the past that was superstar-like?
Okay, I'm going to do this, but it's asinine to do this. Because let me make this 100% clear. The Miz should be able to have the capability of $1 million man Ted DiBiase. He should be that type of guy. But he isn't.
DiBiase was a better wrestler.
DiBiase was a much better wrestler, was a better wrestler and a better seller. What the Miz does a lot of times is a little stiffer. DiBiase sold shit amazingly, but the Miz should have been portrayed that way in some sort of somehow. And it just isn't and wasn't. He's a step below that. And DiBiase didn't really have the WWE Championship. So to be a step below DiBiase, but yourself have the title is fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
But who does he remind me of after that? I can't.
It's a tough question.
I don't know. It is tough. I don't know if JD thinks anyway, but he's supposed to be the DiBiase, but he's not that. So who does he really remind me of? I don't know.
So the closest person you're saying that you could kind of refer to him as reminding you of would be Ted DiBiase, but you're not comparing his wrestling capability.
No, Ted DiBiase is a much better.
But his cowardly mannerisms, absolutely.
But in a way. But the thing about Ted DiBiase is, yes, he got a little dastard. He got more dastardly and cowardly, where the Miz was more cowardly and less believable. Like you felt like DiBiase had some kind of power. Like he's got all this power until he really gets cornered. Where the Miz doesn't seem to have that at all. He's always cornered. I don't know, but he's just like a smug. The Miz was like the ratty, like the next door neighbor rich kid or something who got just is taunting you with something. Whereas the DiBiase had this power. He was taunting you, yes, but with his power, he could buy you.
He had an aura when he came out.
Yeah, it's different. The package was phenomenal. Nobody ever gave DiBiase the package that Miz has, and I'm not talking about his dick.
I was.
Oh, okay. Yummy. I don't know. This is fucking getting weird. Let's get out
Okay,
of
let's
this.
move on then.
Okay. WrestleMania 28. What do I remember about 28?
Obviously, Rock versus Cena. This is the biggest pay-per-view buy rate of all time in WrestleMania history.
Well, maybe they.
And you know what, Justin? By the look of this card, how can that be?
I don't
ask
know,
myself
JD.
that
JD,
question.
how can
What the fuck
23?
are people thinking, bro?
How can 23 be number 2? Did you hear us talking about that? WrestleMania 23 was horseshit.
Dude,
Were you
this
tuned in
card, by
earlier,
looking
JD?
at it, is fucking awful. I'm
Listen,
sorry.
JD, earlier when we were talking about WrestleMania 23, before we had started the conversation, I told Joe 3 or 4 months ago, because I'm obsessed with numbers,
Right.
I had studied the pay-per-view buy rates of the, each individual WrestleMania, even the pay-per-views. And I had thought at the time that, I think, Joe, did I not mention that I thought 23 was not if the biggest one, but the second compared to this one?
Yeah, you did. You told me. No, you said that. And then you said that tonight, and then someone tweeted it at us.
Somebody tweeted it to us, and it was dead on. Because I had looked this up 3 or 4 months ago, and it was dead on. And JD's now mentioning how, and it's the most fucking baffling question
You know
ever.
what? I'll tell you how. Because not only did first of all, The Rock came back and he wrestled, and also it was a year buildup. That's why I said, what did I say? How stupid is it to have a year buildup to a match and everything? Well, as far as the WWE is concerned, it was genius because they got this crazy buy rate.
But guys, look at what we had to deal with from a fan's perspective when the show
horseshit.
started off. Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, that lasted 18 seconds.
No,
Okay?
don't.
That
We
was
don't talk
enraging.
about it here, JD.
Kane versus Kane. Okay, get off my TV. Kane versus Randy Orton, and he defeated Randy Orton. Big Show, another get off my TV candidate, versus Cody Rhodes.
Is this off the top of your head, JD?
Intercontinental title. Big Show challenging for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah. Fuck
Kelly
that.
Kelly and Maria Menounos
Yeah.
versus Beth Phoenix and Eve
The
Torres.
women are dead.
And
The
then
women are dead.
after that, we finally get Undertaker versus Triple H in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Finally,
That wasn't
WrestleMania
good.
starts.
Well-
an hour and a half into the show.
I thought the Hell in the Cell was was a good match, but it wasn't. There's no fucking need to have the cell. There was
I didn't
no
think
need.
it was that good, personally.
I
I didn't think I enjoyed that match at all, as a matter of fact.
But guys, listen.
No.
When HBK super kicked Undertaker.
Yes.
in the
Yeah,
match,
that's true.
I guarantee you, everybody collectively, oh my God, the streak is over. The streak is over. And that led into a pedigree. Everybody thought the streak was over at that point. One of the best
Yeah.
highlights of the streak ever.
It really was that they had. It was kind of like Shawn Michaels and Undertaker the second time because it was like the spots in this one were more gut wrenchingly emotional, but the first match had been better. It was the same type of deal, although this was your number one would have been Shawn Undertaker 25, number 2 probably Shawn Taker 2. Maybe you could argue between that one and the Triple H first one, and then this one was definitely the 4th. But you're right.
Yeah.
And the way it ended, and then to see the 3 of them together leaving, and it was like the end of an era, they were calling it, and that was pretty kind of emotional in a way. So that was the thing.
It
that
was
I wanted
great
to watch.
storytelling.
That was, yeah. Everything else was horseshit.
Absolutely.
Then I guess CM Punk versus Jericho was.
It was okay.
It was okay, but it should have been. That fucking. It's so weird because.
The storyline was great building up to that, guys.
Yes.
I mean Jericho smashing
The
a
fucking
bottle
alcohol.
of Jack
Yeah.
over CM Punk's head. That was fucking great.
Telling him he was gonna be, he was gonna be a drunk like his dad. That whole
was
shit was
great.
that was great. I did love that. I think the match was pretty damn good too. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it was pretty good. The Rock and Cena was just like a. I want to say it almost. I think it reminded me of, and maybe I'm wrong, but you can let me know. I don't remember too much of it, so maybe this tells you that it's not as good. But it kind of reminds me of the Warrior versus Hulk Hogan at 6. Like, it was like okay, it was a good match, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? But it was a good match, but. It was like a good wrestling type of 2 big wrestlers, big names had a match, and it was okay, but it wasn't anything special than that. More than that, and I can't remember it right now. So that tells you how maybe not good it was. It was it's just fucking. CM Punk should have been the star at this point. Maybe you could.
Yeah, but
what?
Did The Rock get hurt on this one, or was it 29?
No, it was 29 where he pulled his groin.
Okay.
I thought he tore his ribs or something. Wasn't that?
He had a ruptured groin or some shit like that.
I thought he ripped his ribs apart too in one of them.
Probably, but he was out for 6 months. Period.
Yeah. Well, this was it was terrible. But so The Rock and Cena was watered down because it just wasn't the greatest thing. Everyone wanted to see it. It was all right. CM Punk and Jericho was pretty good, but it was held back because of that match. But yet it was for the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that was all right. This is better than 27. This WrestleMania, I would think. The better match was at 27 with Triple H and Undertaker, but I would say that it was better. But it was still fucking a horrible fucking show. Fuck this show.
And I just want to add too, Joe, as far as
Who's
Rock
the
versus
Intercontinental
Cena.
Champion at this time, by the way?
Who was?
Who the fuck is we haven't talked a lot about the Intercontinental Championship.
They didn't care. All they cared about was building Rock versus fucking Cena.
Yeah.
And my point is, everyone knows my feelings on The Rock. It's not a very favorable opinion. I don't get entertained by The Rock. While he makes me laugh, that's the only thing he does. When he's in the ring, I lose interest. I don't get intrigued at all. And when you combine that with how I feel about John Cena, I lose all interest, as I did at this WrestleMania. And to top it off, being as disappointed as I was with Triple H versus Taker, it doesn't sit very well with me. As well as this one in 29, no, they don't sit well with me.
I mean, Undertaker versus CM Punk was a great fucking match. I don't know it almost went 25 minutes.
That was this
I loved
WrestleMania?
it.
That was this WrestleMania?
No, that was 29.
This was 29. Yeah.
Well, we're talking
WrestleMania
28
was
right
Punk
now.
versus
No,
Undertaker.
we're on 28 right now.
Oh, you're on 28. Oh, well.
Yeah, so no,
Yeah,
we're not
on
there
28.
yet.
I was just saying that pertaining to Rock versus Cena at 29, it just soured my taste because I'm just not a fan of either or.
Oh, well, Cena versus Rock at 29 was fucking terrible.
That's
Yeah,
that's what
it
I'm
was
saying.
worse. It was worse, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. The match was bad, yes, but it adds to the fact that just neither one of these guys entertained me. So I'm literally sitting there just face palming or checking out
Justin,
Twitter.
it was within not even 5 minutes they were trading finishes back and forth. I mean, by that alone, you can tell this match was just terrible from the get-go. I mean,
Yeah.
Vince wanted this merely just based on name recognition alone to sell WrestleMania because he knew he had nothing else besides Undertaker versus I mean, I'm talking about 29. Undertaker versus Punk. That's all he had.
Yeah,
But JD,
let's
a
move
key
on to this
factor to-
WrestleMania too.
A key
We're on
factor
29
to
now.
bring up is, though, guys, is 28 is the biggest pay-per-view buy rate of all time. So Vince immediately is like, well, that's the biggest fucking buy rate I've got. We got to do it again.
Yep.
Yep.
And I didn't mind Cena versus Rock 1, but 2 was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one where I remember watching it and thinking this was a mistake. Like this was a mistake.
that was also when CM Punk did his pipe bomb and all that shit.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted. But no, CM Punk and Undertaker was a good match, and it was a great match. In fact, that was one of the match of the year things we talked about at the time on this show. I think I started my show.
Well, there's a lot of controversy surrounding that match too.
This was, there was a lot of controversy.
Now, being that I'm with you guys tonight drinking,
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys one question. Do you think Punk should have been the one to break the streak?
If yes, more than Brock Lesnar, but although I didn't know what Brock Lesnar was going to be, I didn't realize they were going to put all this shit into him and make him this crazy force. But you could have made Brock Lesnar a crazy force without him beating the streak. However, good thing they didn't give it to Punk because Punk just walked away anyway. But no, you know something? I didn't think that. I gotta be honest. I gotta come back and say, no, I still didn't think that Punk was gonna beat the streak, nor did I want him to. I enjoyed what they did with him. I liked that he was pouring out Paul Bear's fucking ashes. The poor guy just died, and they're pouring out Paul Bear's ashes, and he's playing this heel, and you want to see him get fucking his shit come back. And I liked what they did with it. To be honest, I was okay with it.
JD, let me tell you how I feel about it. And I'll be the first to tell you no. I don't think CM Punk should have beaten the streak.
But Justin, before you even continue, Punk on 29 in the match that he gave us with Undertaker, and then not knowing Brock Lesnar and Undertaker WrestleMania 30 was going to end in a concussion, and Undertaker really just relinquishing his streak because he couldn't do it anymore. Don't you think Punk was the right guy to do it?
I'm not saying that it wasn't. Okay, that's not my point of view, because obviously at the time I would not have been able to know that.
If Punk was being built differently, if Punk had been booked as, the guy, CM Punk, the guy, and Undertaker was saying, no, you're not the guy, you're just like everybody else, and I'll fucking put you, I'll end your career. And then Punk could say, my career's not on the line. We haven't put that on the line yet. And Undertaker's saying, you don't have to put it on the line. I'll take it. That type of thing. And then Punk had been billed as a good guy, as a face. Then I would have been on board for that. But because I didn't see that Punk, I saw kind of asshole Kevin Owens-y guy.
Yeah.
I don't. So that's why I have trouble answering that question.
Well, let me explain myself.
One more thing, if CM Punk if the fans had been behind CM Punk like they were a Daniel Bryan, then yes, he should have beaten Undertaker's streak.
My point is, JD, right off the bat, I say no, because Joe hit on it. Was going into this match, CM Punk was indeed what his name tells me, and he was being a punk. Okay, he was disrespecting what I, as a child, watched Paul Bearer coming out, just talking and creeping everybody out with the octave of his voice. With Undertaker coming out, he's disrespecting everything that I've known up to this point regarding The Undertaker. He's disrespecting him in every way, shape, or form. So inevitably, I'm thinking this is bullshit. This guy needs to fucking go down. The Undertaker needs to beat this guy. That plays a part in my book in being the guy that shouldn't beat the streak, because once he beats the streak, where does he go? Is it the guy that I defeated the streak? I'm the guy that poured the Advocate's ashes out all over the ground. I'm the guy that took over the guy that had won 20 straight matches up to this point, or 21 straight matches. My answer is, people will just probably know right off the bat, I probably would have had Undertaker never lose the streak. I'm one of those guys. The prestige of the streak, honestly, in my book, I'm not saying he shouldn't lose, because he's still active. People seem to forget sometimes that he's still going, and he's probably going to go for another 2 or 3 years.
My opinion was he should have lost it in his last match, and we shouldn't have known it was his last match, and he should have lost it then, or he shouldn't have lost it at all. But
I'm of the understanding that Taker should still be defeated today, but he should be coming up on a loss. That's the way I feel. Due to the only fact that Undertaker is so, just looked at as a badass. By the end of his career, he did end up finally going down, but it wasn't because he wasn't at the top of his game. It was because he wanted to fight, but he just couldn't fight to the will that he is known to fight.
Guys, there's something we're forgetting about, and it's very interesting to me. What if... This is really weird, because I know that right now Brock Lesnar has some kind of deal with the Wyatts. What if Brock Lesnar and Undertaker wrestled at WrestleMania this year? What if they did wrestle at WrestleMania this year? And the Undertaker put his career on the line against Brock Lesnar. You think that would be stupid?
Lesnar versus Taker this year?
Yeah, at WrestleMania for his career. Career versus career, even.
Career versus career. If it's career versus career, is it pretty obvious who wins this match?
Yeah, I think it's...
Okay, so if that's the case, I'm not interested in it. Because I'm not interested in a match where I literally know the outcome to the point of this is just a match on paper to sell.
What if it's career versus Brock Lesnar's Undertaker's career versus Brock Lesnar, and actually the Undertaker wins, and this isn't the year he retires? That would shock me. Undertaker beating Lesnar at WrestleMania 32 in his home state would shock me, because I would think that Undertaker would lose and lose his career. So that would add that little creepy element in there if it was just Undertaker's career, that maybe Undertaker could end up beating Brock Lesnar, which would throw away, of course, what happened in many ways throw a little bit of that shit away, but it would keep everything going. But anyway, I don't think that's going to happen, so fuck it. And we're supposed to be talking about WrestleMania.
Okay, sorry.
But I had to get into it. Anyway, John Cena versus The Rock sucked ass. It was worse than the year before.
It's not even worth talking about.
Triple H took on Brock Lesnar at this one.
Ugh, what a shit match.
They had a good match in the rivalry, I think, and I forget which pay-per-view. SummerSlam, okay. But the WrestleMania didn't work out. I remember Steel Steps. Oh yeah, beat it.
Triple H had to get his win back, Joe.
Yeah, that's right.
He had to get his win back from losing to Taker the year before. He had to get his win back by making Brock Lesnar tap out.
It's ridiculous.
The UFC star tap out on the biggest stage in entertainment. Tap out to him.
Yeah, and then beats the Undertaker streak. And then Triple H couldn't beat the Undertaker.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense. And it was.
What is that noise?
I don't know.
You hear it?
I think it's JD.
Sounds like somebody's driving down the highway.
I don't know. That can't be me.
I don't know what it is. It's gone now. You started talking and it went away. It was almost, you know what it was? It was like your microphone, because you hadn't talked in a while. I think your microphone was listening to the background noise.
Oh shit!
So I could hear somebody typing and shit. Like it was weird.
Yeah. So say more, JD.
Yeah. Now that you talked, it went away.
This is your show, guys. I'm only here to add my fucking 2 cents. Don't worry.
Well,
Wednesday, if you want to hear fucking JD, I don't know where.
It's gonna be crazy. You're worth more than 2 cents.
Joe.
Yes.
We're coming up upon one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time.
Okay.
And that is WrestleMania 30.
I did like WrestleMania 30. It's one of those WrestleManias that I can literally, and I'm not saying it's amazing, but it's like it's one of those ones where I can actually go back and watch this WrestleMania, and I'm kind of happy with some of it. You know,
the story of this WrestleMania, because this was one I bought on pay-per-view, because I think, Joe, you do the same thing.
Yep.
For the big ones, you buy them.
Yep.
And I bought this one
because it looks better. The moment
the pay-per-view started running, the story was Daniel Bryan overcoming all odds.
And him and Triple H had a good little beginning match. It's very comparable in a way. It was a different match, but it's very comparable.
I thought it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they went 30 minutes in the opening match to WrestleMania, and that was fucking fantastic.
Yes, it was, JD. It was a fucking great match.
And Stephanie was hot as shit.
Oh, my God. Was she in that leather shit again?
She had those high heels and that like mini skirt, like corporate dressy thing. Like, holy hell.
And you don't need to ask me, guys. I mean, this came about because we wanted it.
Yeah.
Not because WWE, mechanically and produced someone like a Roman Reigns who should be there. Daniel Bryan was a product of us.
Yes.
That's why he was there. And that's what made it so special.
It was so good, man. I loved it. I love the beginning. I love the purple and gold. I love Daniel Bryan looking like a fucking champ. Triple H sold that knee hit. It was God.
How about Triple H's entrance with Charlotte, Sasha, and Alexa Bliss?
That's right. That was another big entrance with the skull hat thing and the taking it off and Sasha
that
Banks.
Was epic as hell.
Milky little skin. God damn, I'll lick her. God, I love her. And
it really was a great match. All jokes aside, though, that was a really, really good match.
It was good.
That's how you want your show to start off. You want the fans after that first match to just be jacked like, fuck yeah, oh my God, I can't wait.
For the past WrestleManias that you guys talked about,
yeah.
Can you really name one match that even comes close to an opening WrestleMania match than that one?
No. The last time you had opening matches that were good were those like WrestleMania 19 and 18 and 17.
It was 17 and 18.
Yep.
Each year, William Regal came out. He put RVD over one year and Jericho over the year before.
Yep. Those were the last times we had those opening good matches. And those 17-18 matches, then those were the matches that reminded me of like WrestleMania 8 with Shawn and Tito or Tito Santana, WrestleMania 1 or those things. So it was like hearkening back to those. And then we get this one because of the star power, really, and the match ended up being good.
Oh, yeah.
Then, man, the fucking Shield, who had just come up, who's on fire. Unfortunately, they didn't get to have their own new big storyline yet, but they did get the New Age Outlaws and Kane. And Kane was there.
Yeah, but the big rumor surrounding this match is that the Daniel Bryan and Triple H match went over significantly.
Yeah.
And that's why the Shield got cut off so early. And the even bigger story is that Billy Gunn inevitably, this is why he would get injured out from here on out.
Yeah, he got, I don't know what, he got slammed and something burst or something. It was crazy.
It was that triple power bomb from the Shield, and he was coughing up blood in the back.
So
it was a
weird.
huge story that night.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember he was hurt, and I was like, I kept looking to see what it was, and it was like, I remember the dirt sheets just saying it was from that move, and it wasn't. It was like,
I didn't hear anything about that. I mean, that's new to me at least. But
you can find it on
the way
my
the
channel.
match ended, 3 minutes almost. I think the Shield going over in 3 minutes was
good.
Was good
For them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It didn't need to go more than that.
Was that not the only time as well that the Shield came out with those skull masks?
I think that was the point. Yeah, I think that was in the very beginning where they came out with those skull masks. Yeah.
Was that not the only time we seen them come out like that?
They had those, like, I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe the beginning and a couple times after. I don't remember, though.
It just looked like that old Rob Zombie kind of bandana thing where it was held over, like that. Anyways.
I have a lot of good feelings about WrestleMania over the years, because what people have to remember, and about all of us, all three of us, especially like being 31 now, that, my whole life has been WrestleMania. So I have memories of WrestleMania, but my memory, goes a little bit. So the memories are being a kid and watching the WrestleManias and stuff. But this WrestleMania is special to me as we do this show, because I can remember reporting Billy Gunn injured on my channel. And I can remember all the stuff, even WrestleMania 29. I can remember 29 and 30 when I started my channel. It was WrestleMania 29. And I can just remember doing these stories. So talking about these matches is so cool, because I remember the whole year of covering it and doing all that stuff. And it's just wild. Like, I remember making a video. Billy Gunn's injured. He got hurt with this move, and we don't know what the fuck why.
Because of WrestleMania 30 is the reason I am speaking with Joe Cronin right now.
Yeah, that was and the streak ended, and my video blew up because of it. And this is really...
Joe's video was the very first video. I was on a schedule where nobody was awake pretty much when I was. So I typed into YouTube, Undertaker streak over or Undertaker loses. The first person I found going live was indeed this guy I'm talking to right now, and here we are today.
That's crazy, man. So that's why it also has a special meaning. And then Daniel Bryan, the build up, and I remember him getting fired years before, and everything that happened. This WrestleMania is so goddamn special and makes me happy. And at the time, I didn't realize it because we were all stressed out. It was almost like your hockey team or baseball team in the playoffs. You're so fucking stressed out about what's going to happen. You kind of, the moment isn't as good. But when you go back and watch it now, and it was good when it happened. Obviously, the fucking night was amazing. But when you go back and watch it now, it's that much better. And also, do you remember how Daniel Bryan was so over that anybody else going on after Undertaker and Brock Lesnar would have been fucked. Anybody else going on after that shit would have been
like
fucked.
The Divas?
Like, yeah, you're all. But I mean, like, if the title, if it was Randy Orton and Triple H, or if it was Batista and Triple H, this crowd would eat their own. You would have seen people in the audience eating shit out of their ass. You would have seen people in the audience masturbating, talking on their cell phones, looking for pizza. Like, these people wouldn't have fucking gave a fuck balls about anything after that happened. You would have seen people naked in the fucking crowd, but no, they were like. But we got Daniel Bryan and Triple H, and even
like Justin said, I mean, after Undertaker and Lesnar happened, they gave us a Vicky Guerrero Invitational Battle Royal. I mean, how is anybody going to be invested in that match after the Undertaker just suffered his first loss at WrestleMania? Why would you even have anything after that match?
It wasn't even a Battle Royal.
What were you going to do,
JD?
though? What were you going to do? You know what I mean? I almost thought, this is the one time where I was like, they need to have this stupid women's thing because I can't even function. Like, you know what?
Seriously, what were you guys doing before the Undertaker suffered that pinfall? Like, where were you guys and what were you doing?
Oh, I was staring at TV in the middle of my living room, and I was watching it with Gavin and Leah, and when I saw the hand hit 3, I I probably looked insane. I looked at the fucking black guy in the front row that they zoomed in on.
I just said black guy.
Everybody looked like that because that was to call out the person I was specifically speaking about by his specific attributes, whereas your comparison to a black guy earlier indicated that he shouldn't have beaten the big white man.
No, it wasn't. My indication that people, if they didn't know who Floyd was, he was black.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
I love the tie-in, but no, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't fucking believe it, and and then I started laughing at the audience reactions, and then I think I rewound it like multiple times to be like, this happened, something must be wrong. Like everybody said it. They'll never ever, I don't think ever, be able to create a time where so many people thought they were fucking dreaming watching something or thought there must be something wrong. And spoiler alert, anybody who hasn't seen Star Wars, please mute your fucking shit. Spoiler alert.
3, 2, 1.
I was more shocked that The Undertaker lost his streak at WrestleMania 30 than fucking Han Solo dying. That's fucking crazy.
I didn't know that, but all right.
What?
That happened.
Why did you not tell me that so I wouldn't have said that?
Because I'm not that bothered by it. I'm a Star Trek guy, so.
I'm a Star Trek guy too, but I'm into Star Wars as well.
Let's blow each other.
Unbelievable, dude. The emotion that I felt in the Star Wars scene was heavy. I was shaking in the theater, to be honest. But I'll tell you, that I almost passed out watching the Undertaker thing because I was tensing up and squeezing. Like, it was crazy. And it did ruin the triple threat match a little bit for me. The Daniel Bryan, Batista, Randy Orton, I don't think I snapped out of it until 70% through that match. And I'm not joking. They needed that fucking Divas. They needed another Divas match or something because it was, what do? Do you have a moment of silence instead? Do you let like the fucking, I mean, you know, do you not have anyone come out? Like, give 10 minutes of silence after the match and then the Divas will start.
Let me tell you a very quick story, okay? About when the Undertaker lost to Lesnar. I had my best friend over and his girlfriend at the time, okay? And they came over. He was a huge Undertaker fan. Before the pay-per-view had started, we always like to, predict who was going to win, write it down, whoever at the end of the night won, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just something quick and fun to help intrigue the matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody, especially Zach, there it was. I just threw my friend under the bus. He has always claimed for at least 10 years now that the main reason he tunes into WrestleMania is always Undertaker's matches because he knows that if the card may have been piss poor, he can always count on that Undertaker match. This was his match because to this day, he's not a Daniel Bryan fan, which is why he's an asshole. This match came on, okay, and he was for sure, and people aren't going to believe me. They can say what they want. Zach can attest to this. I had predicted Brock Lesnar to actually beat this streak. It started as a joke to help troll against Zach, but then I finally was like, you know what? I picked Brock.
Right.
This match goes, Zach, I remember everything to a T. He's sitting in the recliner watching the match, and when Brock hit that third or fourth F5, and that 3 count hit, I remember like hopping up like I couldn't believe it because to a certain degree, I didn't really think Brock was going to win. I was just trying to troll my friend.
Yeah.
But when the 3 count hit, I jumped up with, oh my God! I looked over at Zach immediately, and he was like, he had the eyes that one dude did in the front row. The black guy?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's been painted forever now. That dude is like famous because of that. Zach had the same face, and I'm looking at him like,
yeah.
So quickly I go, I fucking told you, you douchebag. I knew it was going to happen, but I really didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just trolling the fuck out of him. But I remember that so vividly. Now, here's the best part of the story. You want to know what it was?
Yeah.
He fucking left.
Your buddy?
My buddy left my house before the Daniel Bryan match.
Oh, my God.
He was so upset over what happened, he left. So then it was just me and my wife watching the match. And that match was so good.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
I remember leaving him a voicemail like, dude, you are an idiot. You missed an amazing match. You almost missed Randy Orton dying.
Oh my god! So let's move on to that. Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, fucking crazy. But yeah, we missed. Dude, Randy Orton's goddamn back on that monitor. Holy fuck. Dude, Randy Orton went through a skew of like almost death injuries. Like he got penetrated by a chair almost. Like, and that night though, he took that monitor, man. That's
a hard thing to time out as well. A power bomb into a neck breaker.
Yeah.
On 2 tables.
And Orton's probably thinking, I gotta protect Brian's head. You know what I mean? So he's
Look where we are now.
And you know what? And you know what, guys? I'm thinking of the Randy Orton Batista factor in the fact that they're not going to put anybody over, but Batista, who just won the Royal Rumble, and came back to a chorus of boos,
movie star.
The fans.
You think he was pissed, JD?
Of course he was pissed, and he knows that nobody wants him in the position that he's in right now, and that he reluctantly has to give up his position to Daniel Bryan. Well, what do you think? What do you think Batista was thinking, and what do you think Randy Orton was thinking at the same time? Like,
it doesn't matter. Batista tapped out
2/3 of
by
Evolution
the
had to
end.
give up our spot to Daniel Bryan to win the WWE Championship because the fans want it. We loved it. I loved it. I know Joe loved it. It was perfect. But what do you think they thought of it?
Well, you picture Triple H probably, because Batista was a little reluctant to want to come back. Really, I mean that's part of it. And you picture him
Triple H. I think willingly gave up his fucking loss to Daniel Bryan. I think he was all for it.
He
But
was.
Batista and Randy Orton, I don't know what they were thinking. I think they thought the opposite.
I think they were molested into coming back, like Triple H saying, Batista, you're going to be the champion. You're going to win the goddamn Rumble, and you're going to be over. People are going to flip out that you're back, and it's going to be this big comeback thing. And I think they thought it was going to be this crazy comeback, and Batista was like, this does sound good. I'm going to do this.
But guys, the big picture is, to me, Joe fucking nailed it, and JD, you did as well. Triple H willingly gave up that win because he knows people can say what they want about Triple H, okay? They can say whatever the fuck they want. He knows what people want to see. When he gave up that win to put Daniel Bryan over, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Except for Sting versus him, I'm not sure about that one, but
I
everything
don't
else.
know what the fuck happened at that point either.
That is what it is. I'm just saying he knew what inevitably was going to come out of that very next night on Raw when Daniel Bryan came out there. It took 20 minutes for him to be able to even fucking speak on that microphone.
You're right.
Because those fans would not let him. All they would chant was, you deserve this, for 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome,
Because
dude.
Triple H knows, indeed, what's best for business, all jokes aside. Triple H really does know.
Yeah.
And that's why he went 30 minutes with Daniel Bryan and put him over. And that's why he told Batista, look, dude, you got to tap out. You're going to get your paycheck, but you're going to tap out to Daniel Bryan because you want to know why? That's what's best for business.
Look at what Triple H does in NXT. Triple H knows the deal.
Joe, you're dead on.
The younger audience doesn't understand. They think because they see Triple H on WWE Raw that he's the one sort of running the deal. When it's the opposite. You see Triple H on Raw, but he's really running NXT.
They don't know what he does behind the scenes, Joe. They don't understand that what's good is because of him.
Right.
And I feel sorry for them.
Oh, what's good nowadays? I mean, it's amazing. You know, and even just these matches were everything was better than like you go back to 28 and 29 like we talked about, and 27. Just fuck that, dude. This was so good. Yeah. And you know what? We had the Memorial Battle Royal. We do want to cover that real quick. I know this is the first year of the Memorial Battle Royal. I know it's silly to almost go back to, but Cesaro,
especially after the big payoff.
I love Cesaro throwing the Big Show out.
I do too.
That was cool because everybody thought the Big Show was going to win, so then it came
down. Well, this is a scenario where everybody can fucking talk about this for hours. I mean, Cesaro winning the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And you have him eliminate the Big Show in the manner that he did, and they did nothing with it.
Yeah, you're right.
They did nothing with it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the downside.
It's not that they did nothing with it, JD. They did stick him with Paul Heyman.
This is when they fucked up. They went the wrong way.
But their plan ended at sticking him with
but
Paul
Justin,
Heyman.
Watch Paul Heyman's fucking interview with Sam Roberts. You'll see why Paul Heyman said that his pairing with Cesaro was ultimately a failure. It was doomed to fail before they even announced it.
Go watch my channel. The second that night on that Raw review or whatever it was, whatever the first night was that Paul Heyman was with Cesaro, I said, this makes no fucking sense. And I said it right away. And I said, Cesaro's got the wrong fucking music. Cesaro with Paul Heyman doesn't make sense. And I was raging about it.
Now,
and people defended it. They said, Joe, what are you talking about? And I said, this is going to be this is bullshit. And then it was bullshit.
Well, to be fair though, Joe, let me say something, okay? To the point of to Cesaro picking Paul, you fucking douchebag. To the point of Cesaro picking Paul Heyman, it's the guy that just took Undertaker's streak. You know, the problem with this overall idea, and I'm agreeing with you guys, don't get me wrong, but the problem with the idea was WWE stopped at let's pair him with Paul Heyman.
Right.
That's where the idea stopped. The idea never went to anything else. It was, let's stick him with Paul Heyman. That was it. They didn't know what to do afterwards.
Yeah, but Justin, the idea of Cesaro and Swagger when they were already over genuinely and organically with the crowd before they were even tag team champions, WWE broke them up at that point when they were just getting over, and then when they were at their hottest.
Yeah,
why would you break them
tag champs before, JD.
That's where WWE fucked up first, bro.
Yeah, but
why would you break them up?
Was this the one?
I agree with
they
you.
They were in the capes. They were in those capes, and it was awesome.
They shouldn't have broken up.
They should have been tag team champions, and they should never been broke up, period.
Well, listen, they were the real Americans in that fatal four-way at WrestleMania 30. I agree that they should not have been broken up because you're right, they were just getting over, and that tag team could have been so much more than what after it was broken up. I'm just saying to the point of the reason the Paul Heyman-Cesaro pairing failed is that WWE on their paper wrote, let's put Cesaro with Paul Heyman. What followed was nothing.
Yeah, but they just should have never done it.
No, the reason why that failed, bro, is because WWE had Paul Heyman scripted to come out and say Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar ended the streak, and they did that for several weeks. Meanwhile, they left Cesaro in the background as a complete secondary entity in that entire storyline. You know, so they paired him with Paul Heyman, but they had Paul Heyman come out and say, you know, Brock Lesnar ended the streak. So what does that make Cesaro look like? He's only second best, and he's well behind everybody else.
Yeah.
But no. Listen, Cesaro was supposed to be the next prospect. That's why he was under Heyman. He's the new recruit. He's the number one recruit coming up in the draft. So Paul Heyman aligns himself with Cesaro because Cesaro threw out the Big Show out of the Rumble. So Heyman says, that's the next big guy right there.
It just never made sense to me. It's just as bad as Zeb Coulter being paired with Del Rio. I go, what the fuck are they doing?
I agree with Joe. I agree with Joe 100%.
Now
I think Cesaro and Heyman made a little more sense than Del Rio and fucking
Zeb Coulter.
Zeb Coulter. Come on.
They're both horrible, but in two different ways. That's what I think. I think
Listen,
they're both
Zeb
horrible.
Coulter hated on the people that he fucking aligned himself with. Paul Heyman aligns himself with people he knows is the next big thing. There's a huge difference between those two pairings.
Right. I think I have to watch you have to really go back and watch my video of it because I went on a rant about it. The minute they were paired together, I went on a rant about it. And if you watch that, it'll be amazing if you find it. But let's move on. WrestleMania 30 was amazing. We fucking loved it. Let's go. Here we are, guys. We're on the last one. We're on WrestleMania 31 last year.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
It's taken 3 weeks to get here.
It's taken 3 weeks to get here, and now that we're at WrestleMania 31, we can stop saying 31 because we don't have numbers in WrestleMania anymore because this is WrestleMania play button.
Play button, baby. What's wrong with that?
And I can't wait for WrestleMania Dallas Star this year. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck.
I can understand the Dallas Star more than the fucking play button because you know what they were doing. They were pushing the network.
Oh, really? I thought it was for the Levi's thing, but yeah, you're right.
I feel like it was for the network, the whole, streaming service thing.
Maybe
I'm wrong.
There's a tie-in for the play button. There's a tie-in to Levi Stadium with that, and I don't remember what it is. But WrestleMania play button, man. Whatever.
Well, that's what we're going to call it.
It's awful to do that, though, because when you want to remember what WrestleMania to watch, then you have to be like, what WrestleMania was WrestleMania with that play button? Was that, what year was that? What number? I don't even know. So you have to remember the year, the number, and then go search it. Whereas when you know it's called WrestleMania 31, you know. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we're all calling it that anyway. And maybe that's what WWE knew. They said, well, they're all going to call it that anyway. Although their reasoning was that it makes WrestleMania sound old. But I think that's stupid because, maybe even in football, I don't remember what fucking Super Bowl we're on ever. Except for this year, I think it's 50. So maybe I remember this one, but... I don't know. I think it makes it sound epic. Like, we're on the 50th Super Bowl. This is going to be great. I don't think, like, hey, let's not call it 50th. Let's call it just Super Bowl. I don't know. But it means more in wrestling, I feel like, than even in football. But it's gone now. Play button. Play button. Play button is, let me try to think here. All right, so the beginning of this thing was awesome because it kicked off with and maybe I was thinking of I thought the Capes was Cesaro and Swagger, but this was Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I thought they had a cool entrance, and this is a show that was on the pre-show. And they wrestled the Usos, I think.
Yeah, it was the Usos, the New Day, and Los Matadores, I think.
Oh, it was a big thing.
It was a fatal four-way, yeah.
I remember that. Who won the titles? Oh no, I know.
Tyson Kidd and Cesaro were champions. I think they won.
I think they retained.
They retained. Yeah.
Wasn't this match fucking like awesome?
Yes,
this was a spot fest, but it was awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
It was on the pre-show, but I remember it being awesome.
It was like a great spot fest, like pumped you up opening.
This was also the first ever like 2 fucking hour pre-show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's right.
Yes.
And then Sandow.
They also had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Both matches. JD's right. They put both of them on the pre-show.
Sandow was in there, and remember everybody wanted Sandow to win.
Yep.
And Sandow was over like a maniac. He did get to go over on the Miz. He did get to have that happen. So he didn't get. We thought he was going to get a match against the Miz. We thought the build-up was going to end up being a match against the Miz, and then it never happened. He got the moment against the Miz, but it happened then, and then it ended then too.
But it's funny, guys. Big Show ended up winning this battle royal, and Damien Mizdow was a vital part in Big Show winning. But we haven't seen anything significant from Mizdow or Damien Sandow, I should say, from this moment on.
Yeah,
nothing since then.
Unbelievable.
Well, he looks like he might be getting more because did he not come out as his intellectual gimmick?
Yeah,
he
on
did.
The most recent pre-show.
Justin, he got a reaction, but is that going to mean WWE is going to give him the time of day on
television?
A loss? I doubt it.
I'm not saying that he will. The only thing I can say is this, as far as we're talking WrestleMania 31, is people wanted him to win that Battle Royal for almost the wrong reasons. And it wasn't because he was Damien Mizdow. It was because Damien Sandow, for a year, had to put up with the most fucking ridiculous shit that anybody has ever had to put up with. He came out as Davy Crockett. He came out as a fucking astronaut. He came out as a fucking
he came out as LeBron
James.
LeBron James.
This fucking guy came out every week as a different person. So people wanted him to win because they were like, this guy's put up with enough shit. He deserves a fucking trophy. That's the God's honest truth. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy Damien Sandow's work.
I understand where you're coming from, but this is the same crowd. I mean, we are in the internet community on YouTube. We know how talented Damien Sandow is. I mean, this is the same crowd that Hideo Itami was in that same battle royal, and there was massive chants of Itami in the battle royal. So everybody wanted Sandow to win at the end because they were the internet crowd.
I agree with you. And I'm not I may have the reason I'm saying is people know his talents, and I didn't state that, but it's the fact that they know about his talents, and instead he's being pushed with these fucking retarded gimmicks every single Monday night. And they're like, this dude is worth so much more. We need to scream for this guy to win this battle royal.
Right.
Because inevitably, of course, we all know that Damian Sandow is destined for more than just this guy for pre-shows or some guy stunt double or some guy in a leotard dancing with Fandango or some guy in a fucking raccoon cap being Davy Crockett or some guy in an astronaut outfit saying, Houston, we have a problem in Houston, fucking Texas. My point is just like, I agree with everything that you said, JD. It's true. People know his talents and they know what he's capable of, and I think that's why they wanted him to win that battle royal so much.
Yeah,
honestly, I think if it came down to it, I think more people would have rather had Damian Sandow win that before Tommy.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think so too. I think
I believe that.
Oh, Sandow was over, man. Absolutely, he would have won.
I believe people would. There would have
Dude,
been a
he's
bigger
over.
pop
He was
had
over at
won.
WrestleMania 31, and he was just as over at fucking Royal Rumble 2016. So I don't know what WWE's thinking, but they got to push the fucking guy. That's all I know.
Yeah,
Seriously.
It's ridiculous. He's over.
You're right.
Dude. He was over in Florida. He was over in fucking Florida the other night at the Rumble. Get the fuck out of here. How do you not hear that? He's over at the Rumble. The third fucking biggest pop of the night, god damn it.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck?
What is it holding him back?
The company.
Kevin Dunn?
The company.
Vince McMahon?
The fucking company and Vince. Yeah, who else could it be? I mean, and the fact that they had some bad luck with a Hogan and Macho Man gimmick.
Damian Sandow as a heel with the blue robe and the white towel and the fucking pink tights. When he first debuted, and his gimmick was an absolute great heel.
Yeah.
Why they couldn't build upon that and make that into something special, I have no idea. But still to this day, now he's over. Do something with him. Put him in NXT. Get him over. He could easily be the NXT champion if he wanted to.
Listen,
do something with him and utilize his fucking ability.
I agree with you because while I'm looked at as a guy that doesn't think people should go to NXT for some reason because of that one podcast we did, I think NXT is the perfect absolute destination for somebody like Damian Sandow. He would be a fucking superstar there.
I don't agree
His
with
merchandise
this
would
Sandow,
fly off
Adam
the
Rose,
shelves.
Curtis Axel, those dudes would fucking thrive in NXT, dude. Why are they being wasted and merely just sitting back
They
in the
should be
back
used on the main roster.
collecting a fucking paycheck?
But
Why?
But they should just be used on the main roster. They don't need to go back to NXT. They should just be used on the main roster. They're over with a crowd of fucking 20,000 people.
Yeah, but Joe, do you trust Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn to use Adam Rose and Damian Sandow correctly?
My answer isn't
when Triple H can put them down in NXT and fucking build them up.
They're not going to do that though. They're already above all that, so they're never going to go back
Look
down.
at Alex Riley, dude. Alex Riley in the main roster would fail. Alex Riley in NXT. I want to see more of Alex Riley after NXT this week.
You're right, me too.
I think what Joe is saying too is like
Stupid,
he doesn't think that they should go back to the main roster. It's because they're already there and he knows of what they can do, and they should be utilized.
Because if they go back down, I'm going to be like, why aren't they on the main roster? Like, your brain just works upwards. Like, why isn't Sandow over? Why isn't he be used on the main roster? Why would I want to see him go back down to NXT? Then I would just think, why isn't he on the main roster when he's in NXT?
And real quick, did fucking Riley not look like a beast the other night against Bull Dempsey?
He looked like the evil, like the more like rugged narcissist Lex Luger or something. I'm telling you, he was fucking tooling people.
He looked so good, and I was so happy to see him. But again, we're talking 31.
Yeah, let's get back to 31. It's almost
31.
over. It's almost over. Let's go to Daniel Bryan was in the
amazing ladder match.
Great ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Dean Ambrose taking that power bomb into the ladder was memorable.
Horrifying bump.
There's way more too. There's so many other. I actually have to watch it again because I forget them now. But watching Cody Rhodes,
Stardust. I'm sorry.
The slam, the suplex, right?
The suplex off the ladder. Stardust hit that. Oh my god! It was
you talk
horrifying.
about Billy Gunn bleeding internally after a fucking power bomb from them.
No
choked them. This guy goes off the fucking unbelievable.
Am I the only person that thinks I didn't feel like he was ever going to hit the ring? Dude, they were up so high. I feel like they had the wrong ladder.
Oh, and Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler headbutting each other was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. Because I was a huge, I was actually, I'm going to get heat for this, by the way. I was hoping for Ziggler to win.
Wow.
I know everybody's the huge Daniel Bryan fan. I'm just as much a fucking Daniel Bryan fan as everybody else, but I'm a diehard Ziggler fan.
Yeah, Justin's gonna get a lot of heat for that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will, but the thing is, I am a huge Ziggler fan.
I'm
not saying I
Ziggler.
like Ziggler more than Bryan. I wanted to see Ziggler win that match.
I did not, but I like Ziggler. I really like Ziggler, but I'm really mad about what happened to him. That's a whole nother fucking podcast.
But guys, listen, I wasn't disappointed when Daniel won, please, because
Yeah, no, I
everybody
get it.
that we had at our party this past year for that Mania knows that I wasn't pissed when that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, he deserves that, if anybody. I did want to see Ziggler win because I'm a huge Ziggler fan. I still am, but what the fuck do I have to root for now?
Yeah, I mean, now WWE probably wishes they gave it to Ziggler now.
They bullshit. They don't believe in any fucking thing for Ziggler. It's gone. It's done.
That's why I don't even like Ziggler anymore. It's because I totally know that they don't give a shit. I'd probably buy a Ziggler T-shirt if he was taken seriously. But guess what?
It's like it's like believing in the fucking Cubs.
Well, in a way, yeah, it's like that. In a way,
In a fucking way.
I have more believability that the Cubs will win the World Series than fucking the WWE will do the right thing.
You're right.
That tells you.
It was
I
a
mean,
bad
really,
fucking,
that's
it was
why.
a bad analogy.
That's why it doesn't work for me because I still believe that they could win.
You're so right on that.
Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins is a pretty good match.
I thought that was an amazing match. I would think that was probably the second best match of the night.
For a feud and a build that really wasn't all that spectacular, the match ended up being fucking fantastic.
Great spot with the RKO where he went for the curb stomp and he lifted him with his shoulder up in the air and he came down. I remember everyone at my party for that WrestleMania would go just hopped up like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Very cool spot.
And then and Randy Orton ends up beating him. And but we'll see him
Did
later.
anybody see that coming? Because when I predicted the matches on my channel, I said Seth Rollins hands down.
I did too. The predictions we definitely predicted. I believe. You know what? You've made me very curious and nostalgic. I'm gonna go back and watch my predictions video and see what I chose for that. That's very fucking
The fans are going to
interesting.
beat us to it. Then they're going to tweet to us, hey, fucking Joe said it was going to be Orton.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look at my predictions video and find out. I'm pretty sure I said it was
JD,
Seth.
do you remember who you had said?
I honestly said I think Randy Orton would win, but I had no idea they were going to pull off a spot like that.
He's full of shit. I'm just kidding, JD.
Yeah, I didn't know they were gonna.
Well,
pull
I'm
this
not going to
one.
lie. I thought there was no chance in hell that Randy was going to win. I thought it was a fucking enhancement win.
Oh yeah, me too. I thought I was like, oh, this is, because Randy had been on the downslope a little bit, so they were
Because I think Joe and me are probably in agreement as if Seth loses, what are the chances of him cashing his Money in the Bank in?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it. I didn't think about
I
it.
don't think anybody had any idea he was going to cash in Money in the Bank at
No.
this.
I
event.
don't know. There was a few people in my party was like, yeah, it's probably going to be Seth Rollins.
I think we
cashing in.
did talk about it, but it was like quick, kind of like it always was. But then when the match had started and got it going to the point it was at, nobody remembered about. I at least most people had forgot about it. Most people, because I'd forgotten about it.
Most people forgot about it because Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Me personally, I went into this match thinking that this match wasn't going to be anything all that spectacular, but with the way Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns handled themselves in the main event,
Great match.
They blew me away, bro.
Absolutely.
I mean, this match was. It wasn't the most
Fantastic.
technical match, but it was fucking fantastic for what it was.
It was physical.
Yes.
It was physical. And throughout the match, you're seeing these guys go at each other so physically, and you can tell they're just, before the match, you vision to yourself, Roman looks at Brock, or Brock looks at Roman and says, let's go. Let's fucking go. So when they get out there,
between these two guys, for what it was between these two guys particularly, it was the perfect main event. With
And
both
it
of their
was-
styles. Perfect.
who else got cold chills, guys? When Roman, nowadays it's cheesy, it's stupid because everyone hates Roman and the fact that he's not heel yet. But when Brock would beat the fuck out of Roman and Roman would just give that small little smile. Like, yeah, okay, I'm in for this one too, bitch. You know what I mean? Let's
Yeah.
go, motherfucker. I'm ready to go just as much as you.
I
but
love
I
it, dude.
think-
That belt up to Roman Reigns actually being a badass.
It
You know,
did,
Brock's fucking
JD.
kicking his ass, and he's sitting there taking a beating, smiling.
Yes.
You know,
JD, you want to hear? I want to tell you something real quick. You want to know who was doing predictions on WrestleMania 31?
who?
Me and you that day.
I remember that. Yes,
I didn't remember that.
yes.
We did State of the WWE number 35 on my channel. Me and you did the predictions together. The only time we did it. So funny enough.
Let me ask you guys a question. Were you more surprised that Seth Rollins intermitted himself into the match and won the title, or the fact that you were flabbergasted at the fact that Roman didn't win the title and Seth Rollins cashed in?
I was thinking like, oh my God, they're gonna put Roman Reigns over, because I had been saying for a year since WrestleMania 30 that, you know, Brock Lesnar had to get that win over Undertaker so he can put somebody over, the next guy over, and you're like, Reigns is that next guy to them. Fuck, they're gonna. I mean, and I also started thinking this match is better than I thought it was gonna be. It's almost
and
like
it
was actually kind of getting to be entertaining, and right as it hit that boiling point of like this is getting pretty good somehow. And it was like, oh my fucking God, like this is unbelievable. And when he won, like that, first of all, the whole goddamn crowd popped. But I was screaming, like almost like when AJ Styles came out the other night. I was running around the room like a fucking little girl. And yeah, I couldn't. I really was. They got me. I suspended my disbelief. They caught me. I didn't know it. I couldn't believe that Reigns didn't win. I couldn't believe that Seth had won, and I was thankful. That's how I felt, thankful and just surprised.
Everybody at my Mania party that I put on was thinking, here's what's going to happen. And this is true. Everyone's saying Roman's going to beat Brock. Seth Rollins is going to come out and cash in.
Right.
But at my party that we all had, during the match, when Seth Rollins came out, we all looked at each other like, wait a minute. What's happening here? Is it going to be a triple threat now? We were confused.
Yeah, you're right. That is. I agree with you. You're right. That's why they also didn't see it coming, because people had thought if he does cash in, it would be afterwards. You're right, because people are used to that.
When he cashed the briefcase in, I'm looking at Bible, we're like, we're confused, but we're excited.
Yeah.
We're like, wait, what happened? Is it cashed in now? Did the referee ring the bell? Like, what's happening? Because you know how they always trick people with whether or not the briefcase was fully cashed in and the referee rang the bell, blah, blah, blah.
There's a change. I just have to, I know this is not on 31. There's a change.org started for Daniel Bryan. Sign the petition, WWE.
I just retweeted that shit out. Someone fucking tweeted that shit to me.
I did as well, guys. Somebody tweeted that to me as well.
When this is done at some point tonight, we're all going to make videos on this. And you know what? As ridiculous and petty as it is, we're going to get this fucking thing so high in signatures that the WWE is going to hear about it.
Yeah, we'll all three make a video on our channels.
Dude,
and make sure
Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles needs to happen at WrestleMania.
That'd be so great. It'd be
JD, you may have never have ever said anything so right.
And the WWE is no better way.
And Justin, you know what? It takes not even 1 week to build, dude. It's like
He's
the best
right.
of the world versus the phenomenal one. How many weeks do you need to build towards
in order to build
1 week, bro.
For it.
1 week.
They have enough tape to build it.
They have enough tape to build it. That was funny. I don't know why that made me laugh.
They do. They have enough to build it.
Let's I know I brought this up myself, but let's wrap up this rest. Let's wrap this damn thing up.
Okay, before we wrap it up, obviously we could talk about fucking the main event as much as we want, because it was a good match, and we've all agreed that this was a match that really overcame the odds as far as our expectations went.
Right.
And just to put the period on what I was trying to say earlier was the moment when finally Roman got pinned and Seth won the title and left and all the fireworks went off. Everybody at my place, we were like, wow, didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
But what we really need to talk about here, guys, is Triple H versus Sting.
Yeah, that's man.
We have not hit on this at all.
There's a few others I want to get before. Let's leave that one then for a second, because I want to say AJ Lee and Paige beating the Bellas. AJ, we knew AJ. I guess AJ Lee, this is her last deal, and that's why Paige was crying. It was a weird type of match.
Were you surprised that she won going out?
A little bit. I think they wanted to give her a moment. It seemed like for some, like.
It almost made me feel like she was on the ropes whether or not she was going to be leaving or not.
Yeah, they didn't quite know, but Paige was like hugging her and crying. If you watch it,
That's a good point, Joe.
and it was like they'd been friends for a second, and she's leaving now.
You're right. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that, I just wanted to bring up we got John Cena. I think had that's when the U.S. title thing started with Rusev. They had a good feud.
Fucking Rusev came out on a fucking tank.
Yeah, Rusev came out on a tank.
Lana came out with fucking Nazis marching down the ramp.
And this was the first time really Rusev lost. You know what I mean? I think.
It was the first ever Rusev being pinned.
And it was and that's how you do it. Because that
That's
guy
a fact.
He looked like $1 million, Rusev. And then Cena wins the title, and then Cena does something with the title by doing that defense of the U.S. title, that challenge on every fucking Raw, whatever, the U.S. Open challenge. So all that stuff had purpose and meaning. So go figure, for goddamn Cena versus Rusev was better than The Rock versus Cena.
I can't help to say, guys, I think the Rusev versus John Cena match at February's pay-per-view was better.
I think it was better. You're right.
It was better.
February, that would have been the Fastlane. They didn't have a match.
Yeah, Fastlane. I think that was a better match than WrestleMania.
They had a match at Fastlane?
Yes, they
I
did.
didn't think they did.
Yes, they did. And that's
What
when
match was
Rusev.
it?
That's when Rusev actually
Was it the
kind of,
chain?
and I quote unquote, submitted John Cena in the fucking, the accolade.
Yeah.
He didn't really give up, but he fucking passed out.
Yeah. You're right. It
I
was
thought,
better.
wait a minute. Now, hang on a second.
But it wasn't.
I thought that they had a 3-match series.
Yep.
They had their Mania match because this was very mirrored from the year he did with Bray Wyatt. Their first match was at Mania.
Yep.
Their second match was an I Quit match. And their third match was... Oh, what was their third?
bro.
Maybe I can...
It all started at Fastlane, WrestleMania, and then it went into Extreme Rules.
Okay. I stand corrected. You're right on that one. I know for a fact that Bray and Cena's feud started at Mania.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my point on this, as far as Rusev versus Cena is concerned. This match was done right. I think that, Joe, you were saying this is why this match was done perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know if the match was perfect, but it was.
No, the way it was executed.
Yeah, the whole idea of it was good. I don't say it was perfect, but it was good.
Was it mirror image to Slaughter and Hogan?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It wasn't quite. No, they couldn't get that close, but to that. But it was good.
Not of course relating to what was going on in the world, because of the obvious threat that was at that time. But I still feel like it was very provoking.
It was. I sort of enjoyed it a little bit. I think if it was a little more enhanced or a little more less PG, it would have been a little better. But it was still, looking back now compared to what we have now, it was better. It was a better time for Rusev. I'll tell you that.
I got a question for JD here, real quick.
Yes,
so
sir.
they had a 3-match series. They had an I Quit match. Their match at Mania. What was the other one?
Match of Fastlane, Mania, and Extreme Rules.
What was the matches?
They might have wrestled on Raw too. I don't know.
No, they had an I Quit match, a singles match. What was the other one?
I don't know. I don't care.
There was a stipulation, guys.
I'm with Joe. I don't care, dude. I mean, after all this,
yeah.
the
Was it
one
a
thing that we
submission
can all
match?
agree on is that Rusev was fucked.
Right.
He was fucked after all this, bro. Seriously.
Well,
He
I'm
shouldn't
just
have been.
saying,
never
there was-
been the same.
He shouldn't have
since
been.
this feud.
He shouldn't have been, but he was. He should have been able to go. He should have gotten elevated because of it.
Yes, he should have been, but he has never been the same since this moment.
To be honest, he should have attacked Cena. Maybe. I mean, the U.S. Open thing was great, but he should have attacked Cena and brutalized him a month or two later, and then reigned with the title again.
Obviously, it doesn't matter now because he's losing on fucking SmackDown and Raw
his
like
whole
it's a
team's
normal
injured.
thing. But
Yeah.
I know that they
Looks
had
like
a
an idiot.
submission match. There was one match where Cena submitted Rusev with the chains. He was
Yeah, the
he had him-
chains.
He had him in the chains, and he was saying, in Russian or whatever, that he quit. And Lana was like, he said he quit, or whatever, He got pinned at Mania, but I'm
Yeah.
lost as
He
to
said
what the
something.
other match was.
He said something in Russian. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know.
Did
We'll
he
look-
lose 3 months in a row?
I don't know. I don't know, but let's move on because I don't remember. So,
I'm sorry.
because I don't remember. This is WrestleMania. I don't remember that. I don't remember.
I was putting JD to the test.
JD don't remember either. No one remembers because fuck it.
Dude, it's
So-
Rusev and John Cena. Who
It
the
blows.
fuck cares, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
you're
did
right,
it.
JD. It's not worth
He
it.
had a tank at WrestleMania. That's what happened.
Fuck yeah, he had a tank.
Jesus
Lana was
Christ, you
looking
really want to
bangable.
find that fucking answer? I'll go look it up on the internet. Stop asking us 3 times and go no. Fucking,
Well,
he keeps
I
asking
would,
like.
but then I'd be like, Justin,
You really
just
like
looking
you
this
kept
shit up.
asking. You kept asking like we were gonna be like, oh yeah, like that's right. Like fuck it, I don't remember.
Well, we're not supposed to be looking shit up. This is supposed to be remembering.
Well, you can look that up. That's not WrestleMania. You're bringing up shit that wasn't at WrestleMania, so you're fucking out of bounds already.
Suck my cock.
You know, I mean, I brought stuff up too, but I didn't have to be like you. I don't know. Anyway, you got the end of the fucking video.
But now you're gonna get into the situation where everybody's gonna have a fucking opinion on it.
Yeah.
Sting at WrestleMania. Sting at WrestleMania. Win or loss?
The only reason why now I feel like he could have lost there was that he was like retiring. Like this is gonna be my last match, and I want to lose it like a traditional, like a wrestler would. I want to lose at WrestleMania, and it's gonna be my last match. That's the only reason I can now think that they
But it
would have
wasn't.
possibly fucking. And then later on then Sting, Triple H might have said to Sting, would you want to help, work with Seth or somebody like that? Would you do that? And then he was open to it. Why the
I
fuck
don't
would you?
think
But so if that's not the case, though, why the fuck would Sting take this loss at WrestleMania to Triple H, and then why would you get hit in the head with a hammer and then shake the guy's hand? The whole
Joe
fucking
and
thing.
Justin, it's simple. It's one fucking reason only, and the reason why Sting lost at WrestleMania in his first
Monday Night
match
War.
ever in WWE is because it was political.
It was Monday Night War.
They thought he was WCW, and Triple H, he had to throw his 2 cents in, being that he's fucking married to Vince's daughter. Let me kill WCW personally for you, bro. And that's what he did. Finally, he killed WCW. They brought in the one man who was the only man left standing in WCW was the one lone soldier. They bring him into WWE and they kill him at WrestleMania.
I thought
I
it was.
don't-
I thought it was pathetic because I'm obviously a DX guy and a Triple H guy. I was on their side, the WWE side, but the WWE's won a long time ago. I thought it was pathetic that
It was all
that he
political,
lost.
Joe. It was all political.
And Sting said, I don't want to come here and get buried like all my friends. I also didn't like when Goldberg came here and they changed his music and it wasn't very good. Well, you just came here, got buried, and your music wasn't very good. It was like the
and
same
his
fucking
music
thing.
wasn't very good. And then after that, what did they do with him? They put him against the Big Show on Monday Night Raw. I mean,
Right.
Is that the creative direction they want to go with Sting?
I don't
Is he okay
think-
with that?
I don't think that he was literally signed on to just do his Mania match.
Yeah.
I don't think that he knew, and I think he knew that wasn't going to be his only match. I think he knew that they were signing him to multiple matches. Whether they land is, whether or not where they land. I think that Sting knew that Mania losing to Triple H wasn't going to be his only match.
I think Sting owes somebody some drug money, and WWE said, well, yeah, we're going to give you a couple million, but you're going to lose. And he was like, yep, because I owe people drug money. I mean, I feel like the Sting would have been like, no. What I can say after this is he has no ego. He has no inflated ego. I know that.
Oh, it was overbooked. I don't know what you guys.
You got
it was just
NWO.
way overbooked.
Dude, NWO coming out, DX
Yeah,
coming out.
it was nostalgic kick, and we were like, "Oh my god, NWO! Oh my god, DX!"
It could have ended in a
It was overbooked.
Why not just DQ it? Why not? I mean, at that point, have them all beating on each other. And why would you shake this guy's hand like you respect him after he
Yes.
hit you with a sledgehammer or whatever?
Yes.
Now
agree with
listen.
Joe.
I will argue all day that the fact that at the end of that match, Sting shook Triple H's hand after he used a fucking sledgehammer to pin him is stupid.
Right.
I agree with you guys 100% that makes zero fucking sense. As a matter of fact, it makes me pissed off, to be honest with you.
I did watch it back one day, and when I see it, I buy it a little more. If that makes any fucking sense, when I watch it back again, I buy it a little more. Because Sting takes a little bit of time, and he's kind of woozy, and it's almost like he's saying, you fucking sick son of a bitch, you got me. You know what I mean? It's almost like that. I get that. But it still doesn't make any sense when they're in this intense feud and you just lost because the guy hit you with a hammer. And then it just seems pathetic, I think, to me. Then I get this weird feeling about it. I was so happy to see them all, and I was still like kind of juiced about them being out there and everything. But there was that little part of me that was like, I just feel like I just need to take a shower, though, after this.
If you go back and you have a fight with somebody and he hit you with a sledgehammer and you lose, are you going to shake hands with him afterwards?
No.
Like, we had a good fight. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, good job hitting me with that sledgehammer. Can you imagine, like, on the NASCAR?
Good job cheating like a motherfucker.
Yeah, can you imagine NASCAR? They're coming around to the fucking end, and, like, Dale Earnhardt fucking, like, throws something out of his window that creates a slick, and the next guy speeds out and crashes into the wall. Then after the fucking race, they go shake
Good
hands.
throw,
and the
Dale.
yeah, look at that. Oh, it's great. Like,
It's a good point.
I mean, I don't watch NASCAR that much, really, but I mean, I just thought I'd throw it out there since we're talking wrestling and rednecks. But no,
rednecks? What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just fucking. I mean, it's fucking 3 a.m. I'm fucked right now, dude. I don't know. Baseball.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
It's just like that. It's like baseball. You know, you're the last at bat at the World Series, and the guy puts like the shit on his hands or something and throws the ball and strikes you out. I don't know.
Puts straight up fucking poop on his hands.
Puts poop on his hands.
And the guy at the end says, "Look, man, I know you put poop on your hands and you cheated to beat me after I worked all this time to get to where I am, but good game." It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Or it's like, you know, NHL hockey game would probably be the easiest way. It'll be like, you know, you're going to the goal, or like you're going, you know, you're about to score, and the guy throws his stick on your balls and slashes your nuts. Referee doesn't see it, and you drop to your knees. You don't score the goal or whatever, and then afterwards you're shaking his hand. I mean, you'd be like, fuck this guy. I mean, maybe they do. I mean, they do shake hands at the end of the NHL games, and I see some brutality going on, but I don't know. It just seems doesn't seem quite right. I don't understand. I don't understand how they didn't see how people would think that this is a little screwed up. I wondered, like, if Shawn Michaels watching this was thinking, like, this is stupid. Like, I wonder, you know what I mean? With Shawn, like, Kevin Nash maybe and Scott Hall, I don't know what they were thinking. They, you know, but I was thinking, what does Shawn Michaels think of this? Because I'd love to, if I interviewed Shawn, that would be one of the things I would ask him. I'd say, you were there at WrestleMania. Nobody is happy, and I love Triple H and I love Sting, but nobody's happy with this. And it's over now. But what were you thinking when you saw a guy go over on Sting, who's already been broken down and beaten down, and WCW lost, and now you beat him again at WrestleMania, his first WrestleMania, and then he gets hit in the head with a sledgehammer by a cheater, and then he shakes his hand right after. Do you think that seems right? And do you think that Mr. Shawn Michaels and God would really be in the corner of Triple H there? Yes, hit him in the head with a sledgehammer. I love Jesus. Like, I feel like Shawn Michaels, the whole thing is weird. X-Pac just wanted to bang the girls in the audience. I don't know why he was there. But anyway, there you go. I mean, it's controversial. It's fucking crazy. And as far as I'm concerned, that's our Remembering WrestleMania Part 3. And I had a blast.
You know, this was it was quite a ride. And we mentioned it at the beginning of this finale for this episode, Joe, that we had never intended on getting to where we are.
What was that?
We had never intended on getting to where we are.
No, I didn't.
Series. This was completely organic.
It really was. It was a fun time.
Me and Joe one night, he randomly says, "Hey, let's do a podcast." So we start talking about random shit. We actually went into the podcast like, I said, "Joe, what are we talking about?" He goes, "Oh, we'll figure something out." No bullshit. This is what we have.
Yeah, we started
a 3-part series.
A 6 or maybe 8 hour odyssey of this is 8 hours when you add it, or 6 hours maybe, I don't know.
And not only did we bring it for the finale because people wanted it so bad, Joe. People were emailing you left and right. They were tweeting at everybody like, "When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen?" Fucking JD from New York shows up.
Yeah.
As a complete surprise guest for our finale to the series, Remembering WrestleMania.
I couldn't ask for anything.
And I didn't mean to do that to fucking, you know, throw my wrench into whatever you guys were doing. I mean, I love listening to Joe, period. I mean, before I even requested to work with him, I loved his voice. you know, and his content and his voice and his opinion is the same thing as me, you know. And it's, you know, people are telling me, JD, call in. Joe will take your call. Joe will take your call. I'm like, all right, I'll try and call in, you know. And
I didn't know it was you. I'm like, who is this?
Yeah, and I called in. Whatever the case, I gotta be at fucking work at 9 o'clock, and I'm up fucking talking about WrestleMania with you fucking guys.
I know, it's awesome.
So I don't give a shit.
I'm just happy I found that you two
Listen,
bastards.
I'm all about helping fucking everybody. You know, I love Joe and what he brings, and I don't know where it's fucking awesome, and Justin's fucking awesome, and the entire team with that Joe works with is fucking awesome. Dave Rose and everybody else. You know, listen, I want to help everybody grow. You know, I'm looking to reach 50,000 by WrestleMania. Joe, I want fucking 40,000 before WrestleMania. You know, it's a goal that I think is attainable.
Absolutely.
You know, and I want everybody along. You know, I'm here about helping everybody, and you know, I love wrestling. We all love wrestling.
Well, let's just do the Andre Corbell ending. We're all in this for one thing: wrestling. I'm sorry. No, but I love Andre. But no, I love you.
But Joe, before you close it out, I just want to say that this WrestleMania series that we've done has been absolutely one of the funnest podcast series that I've ever done. The support that we've received from the fans and everyone that has just been looking forward to this finale, or even, you know, just the fact that this was an organic series and it's become what it has. I just want to say that I feel very, you know, I feel very like
sexual.
You know, well, you know, it is what it is. When you're involved with Cronin, anything's sexual. I just feel very like involved that I was a part of a series like.
Well, you were. I mean, you're the other voice. I mean, this is going to be something that you can listen to 3 months from now, probably forget a lot of it, and listen to this over and over again months from now. I'm going to promote this podcast as we upload it a lot of places because it's so much content. I also want to remind everybody that at some point, part 1, 2, and 3 will go together, and there'll be a full video and a full podcast on iTunes where this goes, so you can listen to this whole thing again all together without having to go to the different videos.
It'd be 8 to 10 hours of fucking pure aggressive podcasting.
It'll be awesome. And I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to remind everybody, my name is Joe Cronin from The Joe Cronin Show here. Justin Bailey from The Best There Is podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to Justin Bailey. We want to get his channel rolling too because his content's fucking great. I can't believe that some people haven't found it yet. Justin Bailey, The Best There Is podcast.
I appreciate that.
And of course, thank you for JD joining us for these later WrestleManias here. And you can find JD at JD from NY206 on YouTube. He's fucking killing it. We're the 3 channels you got to check out. You absolutely got to do it as far as wrestling goes. JD from NY206. And for JD, Justin Bailey, I'm Joe Cronin, and this was the, until next year, final episode of Remembering WrestleMania Part 3. Make sure you watch all the parts. Go back and enjoy. And good night.